Are you ready? Stand by.
Hey there, I'm Dave Hartman, and welcome to the Three Gun Show. This is another exciting episode of your favorite Three Gun podcast, and today I'm bringing Dissident Arms to you. Mike Whitesides and Lan Nguyen of Dissident Arms are on the podcast, and I got to go visit their shop in just outside of Houston, and it was a good time. Make an appointment. Apparently, you'll get shot if you go there without an appointment, allegedly. But, man, we had a ton of fun in this podcast. As you can tell, we talked for a long time. But I encourage you to listen to the end because we did get into some not really controversial topics, but some, like, legitimate honesty about shooting and about putting on matches. And to that, like, I tip my hat to the guys at Dissident. Mike and Lan have always been super honest and forthcoming with stuff, and they don't hold back, which I really liked. Also, if you have young people in the car with you, or maybe some mixed company, you might want to hold off on listening to this one until you're by yourself, because this podcast, we did get a little squirrely, and we used a lot of swear words. We used almost all of the swear words. So that's your warning there. Sorry about that. We'll do better next time. Maybe. Last thing before we get started here, we're doing something kind of fun over on the Patreon Facebook group. We're doing like a little motivational challenge strictly for patrons of the Three Gun Show. So one of those added little benefits that we don't tell you about when you sign up. But it's going to be kicking off probably June 1st here. So if you need some motivation in your life for getting your fitness in order, getting your nutrition in order, and of course getting your Three Gun training in order, we're going to help each other out doing that. So join on Patreon. That's threegunshow.com/Patreon. threegunshow.com/Patreon. And once you get there, we'll add you to the Facebook group, and we'll get some details forthcoming here. But again, that's starting like June 1st. And if you join late, you can join us as well. So sit back and relax and enjoy this wonderful podcast with the guys at Dissident Arms. And I'll catch you later. Well, I mean, I don't think it's cool just because I don't like PCC. No, I'm just kidding. But
no, I know where you're at.
No, you're not.
PCC by itself has a place.
Yeah.
In Three Gun, in my opinion, it just dilutes the experience significantly, even in a 2x4 setting, to where that it makes it a different game that I'm not fond of.
Can I use that for the podcast?
Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome to the show.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
That was Mike giving the exact opinion of PCC that I have. Oh, man, I thought your dog was going to pee on you for a minute there.
Oh, no.
He was just scratching himself. And also we've got Lan with us. Lan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, Dave. Thanks for having us.
Dude, thanks for having me. I'm at Dissident Arms
Oh, yeah. Welcome.
headquarters.
Glad you made it to the shop.
This is exciting. We've been talking. Hey, you can't touch that, buddy. We've been talking about doing this for several months now since I've been back in Texas. And can you believe, like, it's freaking May, and we're just making it happen. It's amazing how much time flies.
Yep. We've been pretty busy, though, and I'm sure you have, too. So getting moved and adjusted here to Texas, how's that been for you?
So I'm glad you asked. It's way hotter than I remember. It's more humid than I remember.
Yeah, especially here.
And oh yeah, so I was driving. You could feel it getting more and more humid as I was getting closer to Houston. And I remember, like, every other time I've come to Houston has been like for an event. Like, we had a birthday party we went to that one time, and then I went to Easter at a friend's house. And unless I'm shooting, like, I'm wearing jeans and boots. And today I'm wearing shorts, and I'm so glad because it is like it is so humid here. It's crazy. And the other thing about Texas, and I had this weird realization, and I knew it would make you guys laugh at me when I got here, as well as the audience. But on the drive here, I was thinking, like, you know how, like, you guys grew up here.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, you need some water.
No, give him a treat.
Oh, the dog.
Sorry.
I thought you were talking about me. I'm like, I'm not hungry. But you know, when you grow up in an area, like, you just get used to everything, you know, and like streets become like back of your hand and stuff.
Yep.
There are different smells driving on the country roads in Texas than back home in Colorado, right? It's like, I don't know if I mean, we were talking about cars earlier, and you both are staring at me like I'm crazy now, but we were talking about cars earlier, and you know, you get to like, when you're a teenager, you have like a shitty car, so you like, if you smell something, you're like automatically like, oh shit, what's that? You know, and you're worried about whatever it breaking down. You have no clue how to fix it, and you're gonna be stranded, and you gotta somehow get your parents. And you guys are similar age to me, so you remember not having a cell phone,
Yep.
and like you're screwed if you break down. You're trying to figure stuff out on your own. So driving around Texas, like all of a sudden there's like all these petroleum smells.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, is that my truck? I've never smelled that before. You know, and we don't have that kind of stuff in Colorado. So
yeah, the air's super thick down here too.
yeah,
It's
air's super thick.
everything-
People are really nice.
People are really nice here.
My truck's a lot faster 'cause
Oh,
there's
yeah.
more air.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so adjusting to Texas has been interesting, but it's been really fun, and I'm super, super happy that I made the move. It's exciting.
Well,
Good.
Lots of people move here. No one ever leaves.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's interesting though when I tell people I'm from Colorado, because they kind of get like a little nervous, like, oh no, you're not going to bring your liberal hippie ways here.
Oh yeah.
I always
Well,
have to tell people I'm a refugee.
the liberal hippie ways are already prevalent in the area that you moved into. So that the legislature only meets every 2 years in Texas, so the wheels of change are slow.
Is that true?
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah. They only meet every
Wow.
2 years.
What do they do the rest of the time? They have like real jobs and stuff?
Some of them go back to their districts and run jobs. You know, I don't know exactly all the nuances of it, but I know that change is not a priority in Texas. And that's on the good side and the bad side.
Yeah.
Of certain things, you know.
It reminds me of Wyoming. They meet once a year.
Okay.
And similar thing, but they don't make like full-time income.
Yeah.
And this is all stuff told me by my friends that live there. They don't make full-time income from being a legislator, so they have to have jobs, right?
Right. Yeah.
Where Colorado, like, they're constantly sitting around thinking of ways to dip in your pockets and screw you.
That's right.
Because that's their full-time job, you know?
If they don't have their own personal budget or business budget of their own back at home to manage, and they don't have to be amongst their constituents, then of course they're going to do things in a way that, is not beneficial to most, and so that that's what happens when anybody gets into a job. They figure if they're not making some type of change from the person that was there previously, then they're not actually doing their job, which is, if something is already successful and already been moving in a positive direction for, decades or hundreds of years, then, status quo isn't actually that bad.
Right.
It's actually where things should be. Just too many people just in corporate or in legislatures and in politics want to go in and actually social engineer and make it into this idea of the way things should be, as opposed to the way the real world works. So
Yeah, it's so true, man. It's so true. It's like taking the helm of a cruise ship, over, like, oh, it's that guy's shift is over, it's my shift, and just getting in there and making a sharp left turn.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? We're going to get to where we're going.
Well, otherwise I'm not worth of anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, your job was to hold it straight.
I did something. Exactly. Yes, legislators, your job is to hold it straight. All right. Glad we got that figured out.
That's right. Good job, Rush. Back
Good
up.
buddy. So, what else is going on at Dissident Arms? So, we're in your, is this your third location?
Yes. Not by choice.
Right.
But yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because we kind of touched on it a little bit when we talked at the NRA annual meeting last year, but we didn't like quite delve into it like as like catastrophic as it really is.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had flooding from Hurricane Harvey.
That's correct. Yep.
Is that right? And so like everything Dissident was underwater. Everything Mike and Lan was underwater. And now
Yeah.
I see you guys are at least 6 inches above
floodplain
here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, this is our 4th location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first location
Yeah.
was basically 2 dudes in a garage.
Right.
Building a dream, if you will, just a side hobby. And then we were doing a lot of side and subcontract work for an FFL already established, and so we were doing a lot of their learning under them and stuff like that, and then did their work as well. So after that, we moved to our own standalone.
No, it was another garage, but a very nice garage. A family-owned property inside of a neighborhood.
Yes.
And
true.
so we basically moved into that area there, and it had really nice roll-up garage doors and all that. And we thought it was going to be a very side, low-key business, but we ended up getting quite busy quickly while we were there, and we hired Vadim while we were in that property.
That's right.
And then so Vadim moved here from
Ohio.
Well, and this is
Oh,
why
cool.
Lan and I still have, our regular jobs essentially, in our businesses, and then Vadim was a full-time employee, and so we literally had an employee going to a family property garage with an FFL inside of a neighborhood. And then so we grew to where we're too big there. We can't test fire there. We can't do any of the stuff we wanted to do. And that our personal homes, so Lan and I are roommates, known each other since high school. We flooded, our personal property flooded. The plan was to move the business to that property, but we were a month or two out from actually doing that move. It was 11.5 acres, so we were trying to gear up to having a Dissident ranch, so to speak. And then things got really put on hold when that property went under 8 feet of water.
Well,
Yeah.
Which that's roughly been a little less than 2 years
Right.
since that actually happened. And
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah,
it is crazy to think about.
and then so, in the middle of that flood, we literally had to continue, our business, our personal businesses and jobs, and then still, move Dissident Arms in some type of, positive directions. We had already had commitments that month and things like that, and guns to build and so forth. And so to kind of just fast forward a little bit, is after Vadim was with us close to a year, we just couldn't stay where we were at anymore, and so we decided to move here where we are currently into just a business park in town. It's a super small shop, but we literally do every single thing that can happen on a KL-12 besides the barrel work, which gets done at Briley. Every other aspect of the gun build happens right here in this small shop. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be here too, because Lan and I were doing some computer work here, and you're out there test firing like a maniac in the back room. Fire in the hole! And it's cool to know that like you can do everything from like top to bottom. Again, aside from the barrel work, but I'm happy for you guys. Like it's cool to be here and seeing it all happen.
Thanks, Dave. We really appreciate that. It's like Mike said, it came from a side job hobby thing, and it just kind of sprouted into where it's at now, and it kind of took over our lives, if you will. And I mean, that's all we are now.
Yeah,
We're
so
just straight dissident.
You guys are both full time.
That's right.
Working for Dissident Arms now, which is badass. And it's funny. Like Mike, we met like 2015 Noveski Multi-Gun Championship in Colorado, and it's crazy to think like how that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
man.
I was just still just traveling to matches that were just outside of my normal shooting. My normal shooting circuit, so to speak, matches that I was just going out to by myself, trying to shoot different areas and learning different flavors of shooting and so forth. And that's a lot's happened since then. It was literally, it wasn't even called a KL-12 then. It was a Vepr shotgun that I'd bought before I knew what 3-gun was, that I was doing mods to and getting parts from overseas, from Russian contacts and this and that, and
Russian contacts,
breaking all kinds of parts and breaking guns, and really learning about them through that whole process of developing myself as a shooter, and then trying to develop gear that could hang in open division to take down the marquee tube fed guys.
The great one.
Yeah.
Well, that, and also to kind of break the stigma of open shotguns not working.
Which is huge, because that was 100% my experience when when I started shooting. Mike or Len, you weren't there at that match, were you?
Not at Noveski. I was able to
Okay.
meet you at the Colorado the Pikes Peak shotgun match.
That's right.
I met you with
That was the
Jansen.
same year, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it was the
It was
same.
right
year.
afterwards.
That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Because the so that August at Colorado 3-Gun Championship, or no, Noveski Multi-Gun Championship was like 4 months after I started the podcast. And so I think that was September or October. So that was like really,
Right then.
I mean, that was like in the early days. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
you were helping RO at,
That's
at
right.
the match.
Yeah, at Noveski.
At Noveski,
Dude, we've known
yeah.
each other a long time.
Both of our company's infancies.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't really mean to go down that road, so now I don't know where to go next. I'm like just kind of sitting here baffled, like, wow, that's crazy to think that.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Wow, so much has changed since then. It's crazy.
Well, where
Kinda
you're
getting
where
old.
you're at is, a year and a half ago, there was enough business that we could see at Dissident Arms, and I was having to literally like choose between calling customers back related to Dissident Arms or going to my day job and managing those customers and their expectations and so forth.
Which
so,
you were working for yourself too.
yeah,
right? So
right.
It's kind of like a weird choice to have to make. Like,
Yeah.
which business do I work on?
Correct. So I had a real estate advertising business. It was basically a photography business where I photographed medium and high-end real estate, but I did it for 18 years and did it at a pretty high level and had enough customers that I was able to forward most of the shooting that I wanted to do, but I was constantly going out of town, driving around, and all I could think about was building shotguns or shooting and how to the next match I was going to go to, and literally, so I'd get back from one match, and I was trying to put another one on the schedule. Even if I had one in the next month, I was trying to put one in between it, and it just got to the point
Crazy.
to where we had already hired an employee from out of state that moved here. He was, had gone from part-time to full-time. Lan and I were both using all of our free time, so to speak, to work on shotguns and build guns for other people. And it got to the point to where we saw, 2-3 months worth of work ahead of us. And so it was like that time, it was like, well, now, is your chance to either go all in or whether to try to hold on to your old business, and what's that going to look like? What's your stress level going to be like? Are you really going to be able to manage that? And then is Dissident Arms going to go as far as it can if you don't just do it, you know?
And
Yeah.
I mean, the whole time it wasn't like we were like, oh, well, let's just see what happens. We set like benchmarks. Well, if this happens, if we reach this benchmark, then we're gonna have to make a decision,
Right.
And then so we hit that benchmark, and Mike had to make the decision. It's time for him to close his job or leave, close his business or leave his job. And then I said, well, if we get to this point, then I'm gonna have to make the decision too. And we were like, okay, well, that's gonna be a far, long way down the road. It was a very short time, and I was like, well, shit, now I got to make the decision myself.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then
It's a lot tougher when you got to make that decision yourself, right?
That's right.
You got to S or get off the pot.
You start hiring. We were using a coding company here in town to do all of our codings. I was having to drive there once a week or twice a week, to drop stuff off, pick stuff up, and then you're having to spend a couple hours in the car, plus breaking a few windshields from rocks from this and that, and then all of a sudden you're like, we could just do this ourselves, and then there's like, all right, well, if you're going to spend a couple $100 per gun, and then you got 30 guns, you're like, all right, well, now there's revenue right there to hire someone or to pay yourself. And then so now you're just like, you start thinking about how to vertically integrate the business that you have to where less money leaves your circle, and then so less money leaving the circle means that that you either got to do it yourself or you got to hire somebody that's capable of that executing it in the proper way. And so that's what's been a big part of the last year and a half is just figuring out how to go from building one or two guns at a time for individual people personally to making a true build schedule of popping a dozen guns at a time.
Yeah.
And trying to make them all not trying but actually making them all like your first one was, because so that everybody thinks that you play favorites and that you're going to give them a good one and other people get crappy ones and stuff like that. And it's not how it is. We build every gun in the same way. I mean, they get the same treatment. Whenever you showed up here this morning, I was having difficulties working through one of our short guns. The short guns need the most refined bit of tuning to run without being overgassed, and that's one thing we don't do here is overgas guns. So what was I doing when you got here? I was like pounded that gun 6 times in a row, 12-round magazines until it ran perfect 4 in a row.
Yep.
And so that's part of doing it yourself is you can't settle, because all of a sudden, if you start settling, then all the success you've had is going to literally start backing up, and it'll back up a lot faster than you gained it.
That's for sure.
And that's also that's the flip side of growing too. It's because a lot of the work was done by either Mike or myself, and so once we brought Vadim in, it's releasing a little bit of control on all the other things that have to occur.
Well, and that's. I don't think people understand how tough that is, because on the surface you think oh great, well now I don't have to do that, but it's your baby, and the company that you're
people aren't going to go, oh well, Vadim built that gun. No, Dissident Arms built that gun. If something's wrong with
you're
it,
standing in the dirt on a stage with people, so
that's right.
And it's the company name that's standing behind it. So that's a lot of trust to place in your employees.
Yep.
I mean, you absolutely have to put in processes that keep that slide from happening in the wrong direction, where it's like it wasn't quite the way you used to do it, and then all of a sudden you have 6, 7 things on the gun that aren't exactly the way you used to do them, and they add up into not the product that you've promised your customers. And so and then it's been a constant learning process. So if you back up 1 year from now, we were gearing up to go to World Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. So
in fact, that's the last time we spoke was in our annual meeting.
Yeah. So
on the podcast anyway. That's the last time the audience heard from y'all. We talk all the time.
There's a lot happened since then. If you were to take the Dissident Arms universe of KL-12s and just to make it even round way of looking at it, is that prior to World Shoot 2018, we did 1/3 the number 1/3 of our total, which is where we've done 2/3. So we've done 2/3 of our total business since
you're kidding.
World Shoot, since before World Shoot.
So World Shoot was big for you guys as far as
it was a pretty good event for
international exposure.
Yeah, it's part of everything happening all at once. So it's absolutely was a huge part of our business. The dedication of Josh Froelich,
to have a Froelich to just go and freaking annihilate the world,
absolutely, with
your product.
So he's
has to help.
Super hard worker. Josh came to us, in the right way from the very beginning. Whenever he was just some dude with his own Vepr in Minnesota that wanted to become a better shooter, and came at us the right way and showed his value from the very beginning, and then we were able to start working together. And then, he took his I guess this is the first gun we actually built for him, and he shot 100,000 rounds through it. A small company like us, we can't afford that kind of R&D. I'd done tens of thousands of rounds. Let's just call it 70,000 rounds, but over a course of 5 years. You know what I mean? And so I had a lot of data myself, but I didn't have that data in a condensed time frame on on a single firearm. Whenever you're actually looking at it from a business side, as opposed to this is my own one gun and I'm putting rounds through it, And so Josh was able to prove the durability of our platform, and with proper tuning, the longevity was there also, meaning that Josh didn't break that gun; it still shoots today. It's not his primary, but he still has that gun as part of his arsenal. And so the Army Marksmanship Unit, getting into multiple firearms of us was huge for us. Realizing that the platform does have that reliability, durability, and longevity, and you'll always hear that about any Dissident Arms product, is it has to have the combination of those three for us to put our name on it. Otherwise, you're not going to get it from us, not going to have our name on it. I'll flip a factory gun to you, but you're going to deal with the factory warranty. But if it's got a Dissident Arms name, if it's been has a model that we've given it, then that gun's got to literally basically withstand a limited lifetime situation. You know what I mean? So,
well, let's talk about that for a minute. So you just Mike, you just reminded me of something that we were talking about earlier. I want to be sure to bring up on the podcast. When is the entry-level Dissident Arms shotgun coming out? It's something I hear a lot. So who wants to take that one?
There's already been an entry-level Dissident Arms shotgun.
Absolutely.
It's called the CR-12, and so basically the CR stands for competition ready. It's something that a shooter can purchase, take it out of the box, and comfortably go to a 3-gun match and accomplish any task that they need to do.
Now, to back up for like people that don't know, these are based on like Russian shotguns, like on the AK platform, kind of, right?
That's correct. Yeah, they're based off of the Vepr 12 shotgun.
So they're all the Cold War engineering you could ever want.
Yes.
And so the CR means that you've modified it in a way that will run reliably, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we've done is we've taken the base shotgun, which is the Vepr 12, and which we've already proved to be, the most reliable and most robust out of the box. And then what we've done is we've put our touches on there to make sure and ensure that it's reliable and it's ready to run. I mean, like directly out of the box as a CR-12. The things that you aren't going to get on the CR-12 are the internal chokes and some of the, more premium features or elite features of our KL-12, but you can literally take that gun and go to a match and perform.
So does it not have removable chokes then? The Vepr, the stock Vepr?
Stock Vepr does not come with removable chokes.
What kind of choke would you say it has?
It's an external choke, and so what they do is it just threads onto the external choke or external threads, and it does the constriction after the end of the barrel.
Interesting.
So the Vepr 12 is essentially an RPK shotgun. So it's a heavy-barreled, heavy receiver AK style shotguns, which is like an RPK rifle, is a heavy AK rifle, and so it literally is the world's pinnacle on it, magazine-fed shotguns. But the fact of the matter is it's a military-grade firearm meant to shoot over max dram ammunition, with only 10-round magazines. And when one breaks, you throw it over your shoulder and grab another one, comrade. Okay? and so that's not the model that a competition gun can follow, or a business can be built around. And so the all the initial groundwork done on the first Vepr that I had personally was all geared towards getting the gun to run reliably, magazines inserting easily, dropping free correctly. Basically, how do you mount an optic on it, getting the proper stock on it, compensator, and a handguard. And so all those things, now you're able to navigate a course of fire. I have chokes, external, even though they're not great, but you got them, and you're able to actually shoot a match, which is exactly what our CR is. It's everything you need for the shotgun to run the way it needs to run, and you're going to be really leaving almost no time on the table. Now, do you want a gun that has all the coolest stuff? Well, there's going to be a price tag attached to that, and that's our KL-12. So
gotcha. And that's what we're used to seeing. That's what we see with God, there's so many names out there now that I was just trying to think. Like,
the fact of the matter is 7 out of the top 10 at most matches shoot our guns. So it's just the way it is, and that's not going to change. There are some top guys that still shoot other guns, and it's not to take anything away from them individually, because they do well. But Lan and I have been in the trenches doing the open division thing for a long time. I needed all the stuff that didn't exist, and I looked for websites that had it, and it didn't exist. Now there's a website that does.
Another parallel to the 3-gun show is like scratching your own itch, right? Like, you needed parts for your Vepr, and so now you created them.
In 2015, I was shooting the Benelli tactical shotgun match that was in Kentucky at Rock Castle, right? I was shooting exactly what a CR-12 is today. No left side charging handle, no internal chokes, no ultra low sight rail, no Dissident Arms adaptive stock. It had a Cerakote paint job on it, but it didn't have it wasn't properly Parkerized underneath and so forth like we do now. Didn't have a safety on the left side of the receiver, and a couple other small things on there now that are on the KL-12 now. but it was essentially a CR-12. So I was able to bring that gun all the way up to that point. And then that's right whenever we started getting noticed by other top shooters because I was, either winning or doing well at matches. And then so they wanted some of that mag-fed goodness.
Yeah.
Or people were wanting to flip divisions from TAC. They're sick of quad loading and so forth. And so they were just kind of like seeing that. And that was, at a match, I needed a left side charging handle so bad because I just got sick of because it was an IPSC style match and we were having to do weird conditions and so forth. Yeah. So I was having to reach over the gun to charge it. I lost zero.
Like an AK?
Correct. I lost 0 on my optic at that match from not having the ultra low sight rail. And so part of those things is I literally went back after that match and was like, we have to have a left side charging handle that doesn't break because I'd already had ones that had broken many times before from other people. And I needed some way to mount my optic to where I didn't have to worry about losing 0. And so what we call now are elite features, which make it into a KL-12, those things started slowly being developed to where now you can get a CR just like I shot in 2015, leaving almost nothing on the table. But if you want all the Cadillac elite features, it's going to cost because we are premium offerings and they do come with a lifetime warranty through us. So
nice.
Yeah.
And that's like I was saying where the 3 Gun Show came from. Like I wanted a podcast to learn from like really good shooters and how they shoot 3 gun and stuff, and it didn't exist.
That's right.
So we started. So exciting times here at Dissident, and now you guys have like a full line of products partnered with Briley for tube-fed shotguns as well.
Yep.
All kinds of cool shit. Try not to swear. Stuff. All kinds of cool stuff.
Are we doing that? We can't swear.
You can swear if you want.
Okay.
I'm trying not to because I've been told I swear too much on the podcast.
You kind of do.
I do. And there's a lot of juniors that listen. I found out. My bad.
They've heard worse.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they're on the range, right?
There's bars and then there's the range. So, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I I respect my mom, and I try not to cuss in front of her, and I try to do the same in front of children. But the fact of the matter is that we are amongst guys doing the guy thing, and so it's tough. You should have respect for your surroundings, but at the same time, it is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm trying to have respect for my audience.
Understood.
Yeah.
Trying to be nice.
Just giving you a hard time.
Nicer.
Nicer.
Well, yeah. Diversifying Dissident Arms had to be a big part of us growing as a company. I mean, we can't be a one pony show.
Mm-hmm. So you guys do like full builds on shotgun or tube-fed shotguns now, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit easier market to open up into because the open division shotgun market was really hard for us because of the preconceived notion everybody had
that open shotguns don't run.
Oh yeah.
So we had to battle that hill.
Oh yeah.
Well, plus you had the 3 Gun Nation Pro Series and everyone's intact. Like, well, hey, cute shotgun over there, Mike. We're gonna be over here.
Yeah.
We were told that there would never be.
Unfortunately, I got looked dead into the eye and said that open division would never, ever be part of 3GN. And that just kind of sealed my deal on certain things, So
you can tell by the volume of his voice, he's not salty.
Hey,
at all.
if you say that there's no mag-fed shotguns allowed in your match, don't ask me to sponsor it, please. Okay. And if you say that I can't walk the prize table if I shoot my mag-fed shotgun, don't ask me to come to your match.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. So the thing that pays your bills and the way that you eat, you can't do that here because we don't want it. But I'll take your money that you make from selling to those other people, those things that we don't want here.
Crazy.
Yeah. So.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But so anyway, now the Pro Series is no longer.
Yeah.
People are migrating. There's like a max called 2019 the year of the open shotgun or something like that. Year of open. I don't remember what he called it.
Yeah.
Let's just call it the year of the boar.
Yeah.
No, so Mike and I had this funny little thing going, and that's our shirt that we have. It's so in the Lunar New Year or the lunar calendar,
right?
It's Chinese New Year,
right?
It's a year of the pig, right?
Yes.
Vepr in Russian means boar.
Oh,
so we made that shirt that says the year of the Vepr, which is the year of the boar, and that's kind of how it all ties in.
Oh, that's cool.
And it really is starting to become that way.
Yeah, I mean, like open is freaking hot right now. Like I've been doing the match walkthroughs for Texas 3 Gun, Vortex Shooter Source, and that's caused me to look at the divisions a lot more closely than I normally would go into a match. And usually I only look at the people in my own division, to be honest, or
Right.
who I'd like to have on the podcast. But looking at the divisions, I mean, people are spreading out. Like limited has a bunch of heat in it. Open is freaking hot. It's crazy.
So what we noticed whenever we were getting into 3-gun, into multi-gun, is that you had your 3/4 of the field was in TAC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You'd have your open guys that are usually older guys. Some of them good, some not so good, but they were known entities, and in as far those are open shooters.
Yep.
You could literally you could
we could probably name them all right now.
You could go coast to coast and get a 6 to 12 guy list maximum. Yep. Let's just say you'd be pushing it over 6, right?
Yeah.
And then what would happen is that anybody that wanted to compete at a high level said that you got to go compete at TAC.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of the.
But that's not the way it is like in USPSA.
No, absolutely, because that evolution had already happened decades ago. I mean, before my time,
right.
And so that evolution had already happened, and so people already knew there was a reliable open pistols. They had to remember when you may not remember, but go back and look at the videos when everybody's running Tasco sights. Big tube sights on their open guns.
Oh, yeah.
Well, before that, they had nothing.
Yeah.
They had nothing, and then they had the Tasco, and then they had the original Seymour and all
But
that.
let's
the
face
aim point. The aim point looked like a toilet paper roll.
Yeah.
Right.
But let's face it, in USPSA, they're shooting one firearm.
Yes.
So they don't have to outfit three
Right.
firearms with all the open gear and stuff like
Well,
that.
Right. But the linchpin, though, was the development of a type of gear to where people felt comfortable shooting some type of new division or unproven.
Oh, yeah. Remember when Claudia was telling us about the when they were coming out with the 8-round mags instead of the 7-round mags?
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Used to make major, you
For
shot 45.
1911?
To make major, you shot 45.
And so if you had an 8-round mag, you didn't need a reload here. And it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Well, and like Chip McCormick 10-round mags.
Precisely.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So that's what he made, that's where.
He made single stack open for a
Correct.
second.
Yeah.
Right. And then so that's just what happens. I mean, I've said it, out loud plenty of times that I see, 3-gun getting to the point to where open division, or let's include 2x4 and open together, because it is an open style division. Those two divisions together, depending on the match, will equal or be slightly less than TAC.
Yeah.
I think within the next I've said 24 months. I think that's just it's just moving in that direction, and there's going to be other players that pop on the market offering guns across the spectrum as far as price and performance is concerned. But with the advent of carry optics, PCCs in general, everybody's wanting to put a red dot on their stuff, and
dots are so cheap now.
Yeah, right.
And used to be like dots were like freaking expensive.
And then some of the the middle,
might as well buy a scope.
Middle grade offerings are becoming better quality products. As before, there was just very few to choose from that weren't super expensive, and then the when most people looked at open division, let's just be completely honest. When most people look at open division and multi-gun, they can put a bipod on their rifle, get them some bags, put a canted sight on there, boom, the rifle's handled.
Right.
They could take whatever pistol they have and put some type of dot on there, whether it's in the dovetail of the sight in the rear on their Glock, or whether they get a M&P that's already set up for a red dot, or whether they get some type of STI, Steelmaster or whatever it is. The point is they're able to get a red dot on a reliable pistol fairly easily. The shotguns just didn't run.
Right.
Period.
Yep.
I had an R&R Target Sega that was a total piece of junk. I bought it directly from the company.
Are they still around?
Well, life is a very relative thing, so questions are relative also.
I'm glad you're not taking video.
So
I did tell you I don't edit this, right?
Yeah. So I bought a Vepr 12 from a website. Bought 2 of them. Paid $1,000 a piece before they were even imported into the country. So it was a pre-purchase, And I didn't even know what 3-gun was at the time. And then I got my Veprs. Time went by. Saw 3-Gun Nation on TV. Started shooting my Vepr and realized there was no parts for it, and it was inconsistent, let's just say. And then saw R&R target, said that shotgun's going to propel me to the next level. It's going to make me a better shooter. Coughed up my $5,000,
Oh, man.
between mags, gun, optics, So coughed it up. Let's just say it was very underwhelming from all the videos I'd seen on TV.
Did it not make you a better shooter?
No, it's so.
Did it not propel you to the next level?
Absolutely
Made him
not.
a great gunsmith.
Yeah. So within 2 weeks of buying a $4,000 gun, $5,000 with accessories, I was had it all apart into individual pieces on my kitchen table, looking at it and saying, "Why the f won't you run?"
Oh
And
man,
so,
how mad was Mike?
So somehow the
Pretty
gun always knew whenever I pointed it above level, and whenever I pointed it above level, for some reason there was nothing in the chamber. I don't know why there was. So let's just say it was a very finicky contraption.
That's crazy.
And so, but I had a vision at that time, and it's not really a vision, an idea that, open was going to be more advantageous depending on the match. Certain shotguns would have an advantage because of the style of the match and the type of shooting and so forth. So I had a Vepr already. I had an R&R target Sega, and I saw the success of Jerry shooting tube shotguns with sticks, stick loading. So I bought a Benelli M2.
You were
put a
dedicated
16-round tube on it. I got the tech loaders and all that, and I was quad loading at the time, trying to chase the 3-Gun Nation Pro Series in TAC. So I had my whole another TAC setup too, and I was trying to prove that it could.
It was such a shit show. It was awesome to watch. I'm sorry.
So I'm just telling you guys right now, unless your name is Jerry Michelet or Michael Voigt, don't ever try tech loaders. Don't ever try
sticks, right?
Stick loading. Don't ever do it. Just you'll beat your times quad loading. You'll be more consistent quad loading, unless you're Jerry Michelet or Michael Voigt.
They're the most consistent if you put them at 4 capacity.
Yeah.
What's a quad load?
4, I think.
That's
Right.
what I thought too.
Right. So
We'll call it the Trident load.
James is pretty good. James Darce is pretty good with him and all. But I my opinion is if he practiced quad loading, that he could be right with his sticks.
Yeah.
And quad loading is more versatile. You can add one if you have missed a slug. You can throw one in, things like that. But the point is, I put a clock on that gun and did some reasonable amount of dry fire with it, and proved to myself. That's the only person I got to prove anything to, is prove to myself that this gun can't hang, even with the other gun hiccups. Put it that way. It was that big of a difference. Okay.
Crazy.
And then so, the Turkish shotguns were starting to come in, AR-15 style shotguns. So let's make sure we.
What were those called? Like the Mark 1919 or something?
MK 1919.
MKA 1919, right?
MKA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always want to say Mark because that's what they do with race cars, right?
That's right.
The MK is a Mark.
Yep.
And so
MKA 1919.
there's a couple companies that popped up that were making some aftermarket parts for it, and so I acquired some of those, one-offed a couple of things, and built up an MK 1919.
Dude, you were dedicated to open, man.
He had
And an
every
X-rail.
shotgun.
And
an X-rail?
a turret style X-rail. So we were dealers of RCI products at the time, and went ahead and just bought it was a 22 round or whatever the add-on was, 25 round.
Correct. It wasn't the integrated one, but
Wasn't
it was
the
add-on.
integrated
Yeah.
one, and
Right.
I took the same Benelli that I'd bought, open Benelli that was factory ported and all that kind of stuff, and took the tube, the 16 round tube off of it. Once I realized that wasn't going to work for sure, and I put the turret system on there. And, I needed a spreadsheet to know how to mix load it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've always wondered about that.
Okay. And so, the fact of the matter is I didn't get deep enough into the gun to prove the long-term longevity of the system and even the intermediate durability of it. And so for me, it was a system that already forced you to quad load.
Yeah.
And was going to really leave things hairy on mixed loads. And was a very front-end heavy offering.
And we used to see a lot of mixed loads. We don't see that many mixed loads anymore. Usually it's
true.
like slugs at the front,
Yeah.
slugs at the back.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
we did it a lot at even our local match, and it just
We used to do that in Colorado a lot.
So,
I felt like
without
the first Colorado or Noveski Multigun Championship, I was DQ'd from because I jacked up a mixed load.
yeah, yeah. They're it could be 0 or 0 real quick.
Oh, it was
with
a 0.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the target, but just the wrong projectile.
So what happened? Just to literally, so I'd already gone to multiple matches and tried to bring my R&R targets, and my Vepr was in the car, which like basically was not a race shotgun, and I was mid-match or after a stage or two, I was going and putting the expensive gun up and grabbing my
crazy.
Vepr out of the car.
Did you ever shoot any matches with the 1919 thing?
Not matches, because so, you know, in my opinion, that you have to start with your magazine on any gun.
Mm-hmm.
If your magazine sucks, the rest of the gun's going to suck. And if other parts of the gun suck, then the magazine's just going to be the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
That gun's built around an inferior magazine. Not to say that current stuff hasn't moved in the proper direction, but I still don't think that there's anybody that's got it right on that lower end side of the market.
Right.
There's been at least a half dozen different versions of that gun come into the U.S. and they've all fallen short.
It seems like they're basically taking the same chassis and then putting a new fascia
Very
on
much
it.
so.
The
Yeah.
Durya, the Typhoon,
The
the
Typhoon. The
MKA.
VR80 is the same thing, right?
It's the same, but
Yeah.
different.
So it's, you know,
Which
They
is
have, they have
the
a saying
Rock
in Thailand. It's called same, but different.
yeah.
Right?
Ah, yeah. I
So
remember
if you're
that
like,
from the
oh,
interview.
Ray-Ban, and they go, yeah, same, but different. Or Gucci, yeah, same, but different. So, yes, it's the same, but different.
Gotcha.
And the VR80, you know, we
Typhoon's cool,
don't
though.
have any like long-term knowledge of it, but it is what appears to be the best rendition of of that style shotgun to come in from a Turkish source. You know, material and heat treat are very important when you're talking about past 10,000 rounds, 20,000 rounds.
Right.
Anything that we put our name on has to last a lifetime. A lifetime being 50 to 100,000 rounds.
Huh.
Okay.
Crazy.
So if you need to throw a gun in the garbage after a season of 20,000 rounds, then we can't put our name on it.
Speaking of throwing things in the garbage, I see this as like a big hindrance to you open shooters, like getting your shotguns in the dump barrel. I kind of love to wait for the shotgun being dumped and giggle because I feel like y'all are losing a lot of time there.
It's a technique. There's a couple of techniques that you can employ that really they don't waste any time at all.
It's like
but
drop
it's just
the mag and
understand-
rack it.
Either that or actually flip the gun upside down so that the magazine doesn't have to fit into the barrel and that the muzzle doesn't face towards your ankles whenever the magazine does fit to the barrel. So if you just take the gun, flip it horizontally on its axis, and lay it down with the optic down, then now everything's in there. Facing forward, and you can do it relatively quickly. If you watch Mike's videos, he gets it done in a jiffy.
and so Mike seems to have it, but all these newbies,
ones,
you guys have anointed with the open sauce.
Yeah.
They haven't figured it out
No,
yet. Like they're ripping on a stage, just whack, 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 whack,
like
and then it's like they get over there and they're like, it's like a dog with a big stick trying to get through a doorway.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great analogy.
Are you seeing somebody with a new open pistol and they draw it and they put it up, they don't see the red dot, so they started moving the pistol around in a circle trying to find the red dot?
That's me, dude.
A couple of good dry fire sessions and some good advice from the beginning, and you'll be finding your red dot perfectly. I mean, the same kind of goes with managing open division gear. At first, you're going to be like, from the outside looking in, you're going to be like, oh, this guy's got it easy, right? And then when you start actually trying to manage the gear, you're going to be like, oh, wow, this is more shit to deal with than I was expecting, right?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't look like it. It looks terrible, actually, managing all the gear.
But you can make it look real bad if you don't know what's going on.
It rains a little bit. Where'd that dot go?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so those are different things you
At the Vortex match, I was convinced that somebody was turning my dot off before I drew my pistol every time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, who the hell? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
tough.
So you're still getting used to that, too.
Yep.
You gotta have a slightly low muzzle presentation, and you'll find your dot every time.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Like, I never have a problem finding those stinking iron sights, but anytime I shoot a pistol with a dot on it, and it can be the same grip angle, can be the same manufacturer.
Well, the height is an inch higher. So you're holding it up where the iron sights need to be. You need to drop it down about an inch to find that optic.
Yep.
The main thing I've noticed.
I do the circle thing like Mike was talking about.
Yes.
Iron sight shooters is they're usually starting to track their front sight as they're presenting the pistol. So you actually have your muzzle slightly up with an iron sight gun, and then usually your front sight drops into the rear gate or your rear gate's lifting up to your front sight. As where with a red dot pistol, you want a slightly low muzzle presentation, so that your wrist moving into the downward angle here lines them up. You don't. Whenever you point down, you don't point down to the left and right.
Right.
But it's really easy to be off to the left and right when you point up. And then so when you have a slightly downward presentation, as soon as you go to prep your trigger or really grip it properly, then all of a sudden, boom.
Then there comes that dot.
That dot lifts up right off the top of the slide.
Dude, shooting tips from Mike. I'm using that one.
Yeah, it helps. I mean, and then
it helps, but it doesn't work all the time.
Well, staging your gun, dropping, getting rid of the shotgun into the barrel. All those things are things that you definitely got to pick up when you do open. But the one thing is we've blazed all those trails, guys. So all you got to do is buy a KL-12, and I will answer any questions you need.
Well,
I love it.
Let's take a step back. Instead of
Tech
having
support comes with the gun.
Yeah, instead of being on the phone answering the questions all the time, what we've actually started to do is started to run and establish a line of videos, informational videos on all this stuff, so that they don't always have to call for a chat on the phone or whatever. They can go to a resource like our website and find all the information
That's
there.
awesome.
Yeah, and we're really trying to write down notes on little short videos that we need to do just about how to properly load your magazines, how to make ready on your own without having somebody hold your shit for you, how to unload show clear without putting your magazine between your knees and asking the RO to give you your chamber flag or whatever, right? So you want to be able to walk up on the firing line whenever your shooting partner is busy getting his own gear straight and not needing their help, It's already enough to ask somebody to video you and do those other things. The one thing
also
is
hold my mags.
Yeah, you're going to need, if you're having to...
we need to start a caddy service.
Yeah, if you're having to stage a long gun, start with a long gun, and make ready on your pistol, and you need a starter backup, starter reload backup, and a starter reload backup on each stage, then you're going to need to be able to manage your gear, and you're going to need to unload show clear and walk off the stage. And then what if you want to go look at your targets and walk your paper? Well, you need to have a long gun in each hand and not be holding on to your other stuff that you unloaded. So just having the right setup.
I have a lot of shit.
Yeah, so we are about to release a whole new line of mag pouches for our KL-12s for our shotguns, and then along with that will be rifle and pistol pouches to go with it. Just stuff that we've used ourselves and we believe in, and we've OEM now with that company, so that we will have mag pouches that are the quality that you would expect from us. Those things just didn't exist. Just the little simple belt clips we sell for $7 a piece. You know what I mean? There was one guy that made them for a while and he stopped doing them, and so you brought up the VR80. Well, it's unlikely that you'll see us release a Dissident Arms VR80 or something similar anytime soon, just because we're going to have to prove to ourselves that gun can handle a frolic attack, so to speak, right? And so if it can't handle that, then we're just not going to. That's not going to be part of our business model,
right?
Now, if you want to buy belt clips from me, if you would like to buy a choke wrench, if you would like to buy a compensator and some other parts that are likely to come out that will fit your VR80 and other similar platforms, then we're not going to bury our head in the sand and say we don't want to make any money, we don't want to offer products for you. But us building it, handing it, and saying here, then we have to do that in a way that to where somebody can go to the range and that's going to last, because they're not going to cuss the importer, they're not going to cuss the original manufacturer, they're going to say that gun builder effed it up, you know what I mean? And so
and I've done the same. Like my I've had a shotgun that went back to the custom builder for not running, and it's like, I don't think that it was anything you did, but I need it working, and you were the last one to have it. Yeah. So
that's right.
Well, so when we go to build a gun, right, there'll be a list of, especially on a tube shotgun, there'll be a list of all the features, right? So it'll be everything that we've bolted onto the gun. Some of those things that require proper machining and fitting, right? And then there'll be a line item that says action job. And people will ask us, what's the action job? And I'm like, all the parts on the gun that we didn't install or manufacture that we have to modify or tune to go with the parts that we put on, or have interactions with one another that we have to consider for the ultimate reliability, durability, longevity.
Yeah, it's like blueprinting an engine kind of thing.
Right.
Correct.
So, what most customers are going to do, or most individuals are going to do, they're going to buy their own factory shotgun, and they're going to buy a carbon fiber mag tube, and they're going to put it on there, right? And they're going to potentially buy a TTI lifter or something like that, and they put it in the gun. Well, other than them having prior knowledge or asking their buddy or using some type of blog, who's going to properly fit that part to there, or the interactions between those parts and the factory parts that are not going on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they are, right? So whenever their gun doesn't run that they built themselves, they don't cuss themselves.
Yeah.
They cuss the manufacturer of the gun,
They
right?
there's always
Okay,
someone to
now,
blame. Always
if
goes
somebody
upstream.
touches the gun, our other colleagues or other gun builders out there, if they touch the gun, then now they're going to cuss that gun builder when the gun doesn't run. All of a sudden, and they never actually cuss themselves, okay?
Yep.
And so the point is if you're going to build on a gun, you're going to do on the gun, that you have to literally go through all those pieces so that you're going to understand that whenever somebody does have a problem in there, that you've already gone through all those things on there, because there's no reason to ask you could ask a customer 4 or 5 good questions about their gun, making sure they're using the proper ammunition, making sure they're doing proper maintenance on their gun, that it's clean, that it has the right mag tube spring and all that kind of stuff up to date, as you learned recently. So if all the big boxes are checked, then you know what, the phone discussion can't really happen anymore, because you can't put your gun on the phone and let me talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, and the one thing that we do is that if we've built a gun for somebody, and it's gone out there, if it's malfunctioning or having problems, we want to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think you should have to hold your foot up or stick your tongue out to get a gun to run right. There's no special way of doing something. The proper ammunition, proper maintenance with a known properly tuned firearm, there shouldn't be any issues at all. So if we've gone through those and checked all the big boxes and you're having problems, for us, you're inside of a year, then we basically send you a label. We would get the gun back. So the last thing we want is the gun malfunctioning on the range. The last thing. It's not worth that hour or two that we may have to pull a guy here, or I do it myself to get a gun just back into to where it needs to be, and then back into a box. That's the thing that you have to do as a gun builder. That manufacturers, the larger manufacturers are only going to be so attentive to a point. You just send their gun back to them, they're just going to go through their normal checkoffs and so forth. But it's not
hit it with a hammer.
Yeah, and then but yeah, when that's the main thing is that you got to be able to put your name on a gun. You have to be able to stand behind that product, and if you have major part breakage or parts that literally wear out within a too short of time frame, then that's not a gun to be building on.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to change the subject completely here. You guys ready for some audience Q&A?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I asked the Instagrams on the way over here if they had any questions for you guys. I would ask them. One of them was the Rock Island VR80, so I'm glad you addressed that one. One guy says they make the best shotguns. I know this is Caleb Hess. They make the best shotguns I know of. I don't have enough kidneys to sell for one of their guns.
Oh yeah, so I read a story the other day that they're actually offering about $30,000 to $35,000 for a testicle.
Human testicles? Or did it
I'm I'm pretty sure they want a human testicle.
Okay.
But if you can get a pig nut in you and have them take it out of you, that's cool too.
Good. we are open to trades also.
Not testicles.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I thought
no,
that's where
I'm
he was
thinking
going.
like SVIs.
You gotta
things like
clarify
that.
that before you
Okay,
say we're
all
open
right.
to trades.
Well,
Porsches.
yeah.
All right. So
we do have guns all the way across the spectrum. If it's budget you're concerned with, we have a factory.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
You've got a factory. You've got the competition ready.
Right. So the KL-12 and our CR-12 are both the premium and elite offerings. They're built upon a Mullot Vepr 12 gauge. We also offer a standard, which is built on the same gun. Standard meaning it is a factory gun that we've done our competition tuning to, which includes a recoil assembly, fire control group, and a dozen areas of the guns that are specifically addressed by us for giving you that maximum reliability, durability, and longevity. So essentially,
Right.
it's a blank canvas that the KL-12 was built on is called our standard gun. That's $1,200. So it is, you know.
And any model that you start with can always be upgraded to
Correct.
the next model or
Yeah.
all the way to the top if
Right.
you want to do that.
So
Yeah.
if like you start this year and then next year you're like, you know, I got a couple extra
Right.
bucks to spend, you can send it back and have it upgraded.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the crazy thing to me, and I'm sorry about dwelling on this, but it's like some people are like, well, you know, wow, that's a lot for a shotgun. I'm going to get into open shotgun and I only want to spend $1,000, knowing that shotgun is going to probably only last about 20,000 rounds for the life of the gun.
Right.
Our shotgun, the CR-12, right? It's $2,200. Well, we've already proven that this platform can run for 100,000 rounds. So you will be able to upgrade that, and that's a lifetime gun for you.
And we have customers that do that. They buy CR. They get a season under their belt. They shoot their last match, which is when we want to hear from them, and then we get that gun on the way back in. Their KL-12 status before the spring hits. You know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
Okay, so this one's from Casey Dirt, which is Casey Pratt, I believe.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
No questions. Great guys. Customer service is off the chart. Great guys to squad with as well. Oh, that's
He's
nice.
a good guy.
Yeah, Casey's a good guy. He's he tried another open division shotgun out first. Let's just say that. Had two of them. Our one gun has given him less grief than the first day with one of those other guns. Put it that way. Okay.
Nice.
And it came in the color of his choice, so he's a happy man.
Casey was at a TPC class I went to years and years ago.
Yeah.
Met him out there.
Yeah.
And I think I see him like once a year when I go to Hard as Hell or something like that.
Yeah,
What a
he's
cool
part
dude.
of the West Coast contingent.
Yeah,
You know? And
yeah. I like him.
Yeah, he's good friends with Outson and those guys. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
In spite of being friends with Outson,
Yeah,
Casey's
yeah,
a good guy.
he has all of our similar
love
sense
it.
of humor. Let's put
Yeah,
it that way.
absolutely. Jake Latola asks, and probably didn't know that I was going to use his name, are the shitters clean?
Hey, you know what?
Well, I mean,
It actually the rest of the bathroom's not, but the shitter is clean.
yeah.
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 Well,
I
how'd
will-
you leave
I
it,
will
Dave?
agree.
Let's.
I left it in the same condition that I found it.
Perfect.
Shop bathrooms are not known to be the most
It-
cleanest places.
You know what? It
Yeah.
was a shop bathroom, but that specific item in the bathroom was pretty clean.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so this is Jeremy the haircut maker, which
Yeah.
he's either a barber or a mafia hitman. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
So he just bought a Galil. He's going to shoot Red October, and you guys have been modifying Aces,
Yeah.
right? What is that?
That's our compressor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was behind me.
It's through that wall right there.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Right next to our test fire booth.
I got you.
Next to the other air compressor, next to the parkerization area, next to the two air compressors. I mean, two air conditioners. That's all right there.
All
Very-
right.
Yeah.
So he says, will the ALG trigger fit the Galil 76239? It seems like they, being you guys, don't use the Galil specific one according to the description under their race Galils. Do you guys
The
use
39 works.
Yeah.
Do you use the 76239 trigger though?
So the fact of the matter is that we're still doing a lot of R&D on all of the differences in the Galil and the Galil models between the calibers and so forth, and the nuances of fitting triggers to them. So the 762x39 is the smallest departure from a traditional style AK,
okay.
especially related to the trigger, the interaction between the trigger, the safety, and the carrier. So the trigger that's made by ALG is a Galil trigger is actually only for the 762x39. It's not for the other guns. That's
Right. And I
Right.
did squeeze mine into the 5.56.
5.56.
Yeah.
So yeah.
308s.
So
Don't even think about it.
dimensionally, the trigger pins and the hammer, the geometry of the hammer and the trigger itself seem to be more or less compatible with the 5.56. We have a working model at UDO. I think Ruben and many other people
Gotta
have got
remove
their
the last round bolt.
correct.
Open.
So I spent a good portion of an evening trying to maintain all of the features and still get it to work.
Really? I looked at that. I was like, it ain't gonna fucking work.
Yeah, but I
It's not all
couldn't
fit in the
let
same
it
way.
go. I couldn't let it go until I finally gave in. All right, but I do know what needs to happen to make that work. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. it's no go in the 308. The hammer geometry is completely different.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because that ALD trigger is so nasty.
It really is.
Now, are you? So his question comes from ALG's like sold out on that 76239. They have been for a long time. Are you guys able to get triggers from them?
So
can you sell Jeremy a trigger? Jeremy needs a trigger.
I think that's where this question is going.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
So the what we're not positive right now on, and we have to, and when we are positive, then we'll say so or whatever.
Okay.
But it's that if there's any geometry difference between what they are selling as the Galil trigger, and their standard trigger,
okay,
or if it's just the hammer spring that comes with it.
I gotcha.
Because the Galil trigger comes with its own mainspring, hammer spring, but it's technical terms of mainspring. So it comes with its own mainspring, as where the other triggers don't. So is the sourcing of the mainspring the problem, reason why they haven't done it, or is it actually difference in geometry?
Right.
A lot of manufacturers don't like to give you all their technical information.
Which is
Nope.
weird. That's
Yeah.
weird. No,
One thing I can say, though, is that the more you force us to modify something that already exists means that maybe we should just make something from the ground up.
Okay. All right. So, Jeremy, TBD. Last question was actually how we – I'm sorry?
I said, was that foreshadowing?
I was going to let the audience deal with that one. We
we're
like
good.
to leave those hanging chads out there. Okay, so last question is where we started. We've gone full circle here. So AK9, what are they planning with the platform, and how are they going to make them kick ass like everything else they do? Wow,
We're planning a full and utter takeover of PCC. No, I'm kidding.
Really?
I'm kidding.
Let's not get JP.
I'm kidding.
Off the AR platform?
I
My
will
goodness.
tell you this.
Yeah.
The AK,
This is from
the,
a JP employee, by the way.
the KR9 that we pulled out of the box to
They love
shoot
us.
was one of the softest PCCs I've ever shot.
The what 9?
The KR9. The
KR9?
AK9, basically from
What does KR stand for?
Kalashnikov rifle.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kalashnikov USA is a company that not everybody's probably familiar with. They are exactly that. They're a Kalashnikov AK-based company here in the United States.
It's like Glock USA, FN USA.
Well,
Same but different.
Okay.
So if they were actually that
So
intertwined,
they're like importers then, basically.
No. So there's a State Department ban on Kalashnikov concern from doing business in the United States, just like the Moloch company. It's the reason we're operating under a ban on the Vepr 12 shotgun.
Right. Which means you can't import new
correct.
Vepr shotguns.
Correct.
You can
The
only
ones that
modify
were
stuff
here.
that are currently here.
The ones that were here being owned all the way from the importer, the distributors that had them, the dealers that had them, the individuals, everybody's still able to sell them, modify them, do anything you want to besides acquire new ones.
Right.
No new ones came in. So unfortunately, let's say a year and a half ago, there was a State Department ban on the company that manufactures the shotgun that we build. That shotgun stopped being imported in the United States. This was before I quit my old job. Once I realized that there was at least a reasonable universe of these guns to acquire, I did quit that job. I emptied all my bank accounts, sold a bunch of shit. I went and bought as many of these guns as I possibly could. That's a year and a half went by, and we've been making sure that we have a future. Let's just put it that way.
Got it.
Dissident Arms will be the last man standing. KL-12s will not disappear in the near future.
Really?
But
That's good to hear.
We are understanding that we have to have a future above and beyond the ability to build on Veprs, and so we're doing the groundwork that needs to happen to make sure that we have other offerings on par to give our customers and future customers the chance to buy into a great shotgun. But what's happened domestically is there's a company called Kalashnikov USA, which is not officially part of Kalashnikov concern.
Mm-hmm.
They've
been around for a while.
Yeah,
right?
they can't be legally. But so that being said, they've taken the actual Kalashnikov current built shotguns and
Shotguns
and the Whitesides, which is a 9mm Sega 9mm rifle, and 7.62 by 39 rifles. Their rifles that they're building are all going to government contracts, not the U.S. government, but foreign government contracts that have to buy from the United States. The shotguns that they're building were clones of the Sega shotgun, not the Vepr.
Right.
And we'll just leave that at that. And then the KR-9 is a clone of the Whitesides. The AK community has been clamoring for a Whitesides.
Yeah, so I
clamoring for it
did
for
you guys
years.
go to Lucas Oil PCC Championship the first year?
No, I
we didn't
didn't,
make
but I know the
It's
the
the
Russians-
hurricane.
Yeah.
That's when the hurricane came.
so
Oh, right.
So-
yeah, so the Russians were there
yeah.
Yep.
Maria and Ilya came.
with their little AK thingy whackers. And
Surprised they got home with them.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
nah. So and then here we are 2 years later, and Kalashnikov USA selling them.
So Kalashnikov was supposed to.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. But anyway, it was cool to see those things run at that match because like I'd never seen one in real life.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
even know they actually existed. I thought they were just like a video game thing.
Yeah. So no, it's a thing over there.
Now it's a thing here.
Yeah,
Yep.
now it's a thing here. The Kalashnikov USA has made a very nice analog. We don't really want to copy a copy because that kind of cheapens it, and so to speak. And
Right.
but it's an analog, meaning that they've taken that design, dimensional design, and they've updated it with U.S. manufacturing expertise. And so in many ways, it's a nicer firearm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I bet
so-
they have their own CIA agent in the parking lot out there,
So
like dedicated to them.
Probably so.
the notion of tuning in Russia is a very new thing.
Mhm.
The idea of like actually taking a firearm and making it better is not something that's like part of their
It's more like
lexicon.
volume, right? They just make more of
yeah.
them.
I've been told, then whenever a rifle they shoot a rifle barrel out, which is with their corrosive ammunition,
Right.
could be like 7,000, 10,000 rounds. It's like a high
Mhm.
round count in Russia. They just get another one
Yep.
because the entire rifle.
Another rifle, not another barrel.
Yeah, the
Right.
entire rifle is like $330. Okay, is where that rifle here, if we could get it, because it's banned, and people would pay $2,200 for that same rifle.
That's insane.
Okay, and then people buy Bulgarian versions of that same rifle for $1,200. Okay, so the point is that supply and demand's a motherfucker. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and we always want what's on the other side of the tracks. Grass is always greener, and so forth.
Yeah.
That being
That's
said,
why Instagram exists.
right. Well, yeah, my life's better than yours.
Exactly.
Graham.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my life's better than yours.
I like it.
That's all
Well, only
Instagram
in this
is.
1 minute increment.
that's what
Yeah,
it is.
1 minute.
yep.
1
Even if
minute.
I'm lying about it.
Yep. Let me show you my Porsche that the guy let me stand next to.
Yeah, for sure. And so, but what's happened is that there's a company called Kalashnikov USA that's making an analog of the IZ-109, which is a Sega shotgun. It looks to be a promising platform.
Okay.
The KR-9 is a analog of the Whitesides, which is the Sega 9mm.
Whitesides is a cool name.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is.
Yeah, and so the analog to the Whitesides is the KR-9. It's also called a Sega 9 overseas, and so that particular gun is very popular in practical shooting overseas.
Oh, really?
The reason why is
It's not
the
not a
general
military
public.
cartridge?
Correct. Right. You cannot. Just remember, you cannot take over the country with a 9mm or a shotgun. You must have
Watch me.
You must have rifles. You must have rifles. The guy with a rifle is going to win.
Right.
Okay? Period. So,
Right.
certain countries allow pistol caliber carbines, pistols, and shotguns. They don't allow high power rifles to the general public a lot of times because then you could create a stink.
Mhm.
You can't do much with your shotgun or your pistol, and so practical shooting PCC is not only big here; it's gotten bigger worldwide.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely,
Huh.
absolutely.
Now,
They love it over there.
do they bitch about it being in pistol games like we do over here?
But have you ever seen a Russian pistol before?
Oh,
let's not go there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, so I guess
I would
that was
shoot
my
it if there was a good one. I would probably shoot it, but there's not a good one. So.
That was my jokey. Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah,
that was my jokey way of asking. Is PCC its own game?
Yeah.
Internationally.
So, well, it
or
is. So
involved in other sports.
Well, IPSC's
adopted it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so IPSC's
no
completely
shit.
adopted it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it was in the last World Shoot, wasn't it?
Really?
Graffel's shooting a bunch of PCC.
Huh.
Yeah, Graffel's been shooting a bunch of PCC.
Interesting.
Timu Rentala, the world rifle champion, he's been wanting to learn PCC because is it going to fall in the world rifle or is it going to fall in the pistol?
Yeah. Well, but that's my question is, like,
pistol's
where
not
is
his
that
game.
game going? If it's in IPSC, like, are they doing their own PCC
They're keeping it on the
only
pistol
matches?
side. Yeah, well, there will be. So the
But
world,
how are they doing it
world-
now? Is
the
it
world
in a pistol match?
World PCC is supposedly the first world PCC is going to be next year in
No way.
in the Czech Republic.
how cool is that?
Yeah. No, it's a huge movement. I mean,
But again,
so-
Mike, you haven't answered. Is it in the pistol game or is it like its own separate thing?
So in multi-gun should consist of
No. I mean,
my opinion.
internationally. Not your opinion. Not your opinion.
It's the
How
way
are
it
they-
is.
How are they playing it
it's
right now?
standalone.
Okay.
It's standalone in the
Okay.
pistol side of things. So it's a pistol division.
Okay. So it's still
Essentially.
it's at a pistol match.
Correct. It's at a
Okay,
pistol match.
That's what I was wondering.
They're using pistol stages, pistol rules, essentially.
That's what I was wondering. Is
just
like,
like
what
very
game are they playing?
Very similar to how it's been adopted
Okay.
in the USPSA.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
They haven't the 3-gun and multi-gun are things that aren't really seen that much overseas.
Right.
They're very rare.
Primarily like one gun.
Correct.
Sports,
So they'll do some of the old school 3-gun, which is where they'll have a pistol stage, a rifle stage, and a shotgun stage, which is somewhat how this last Grand National Championship was, multidiscipline. Or what we really do, which is what we call it 3-gun, but it's really a multi-gun where you're shooting multiple firearms in a single course of fire. And so PCC internationally is a standalone firearm in the pistol side of things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's still in
rifle
pistol games.
and shotgun on the international stage are only 2 years each deep. They're both coming up on their third, I believe, world shoot.
Right.
That's where,
So they're,
the pistol's been around for a
9
couple of
years
decades.
Deep or no? Or is it 2 years or is it 3 years?
On rifle, I think this is either going to be the third or fourth rifle, and it'll be the third shotgun.
But do they do it every 2 years or do
Every
they do
3
it
years.
Every 3 years.
Every
Okay,
3,
gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So there's essentially there's 3 disciplines: pistol, rifle, and shotgun.
Right.
And then they rotate on a 3-year rotation.
They're going to change it to 4 and add PCC in there.
So
Probably so.
So I'm not sure exactly how that'll get worked in, and they even have another thing overseas called mini rifle, which is basically a 22 rifle.
yeah.
Ooh, that sounds
Because you
fun.
can't take over the country with a mini rifle.
Yeah, watch me. Okay,
Yeah.
that.
But look
so that's
for the K.
super interesting.
So
Look-
yeah, we're gonna position ourselves to be the lead on the KR9 stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So-
we already have a mag well in place. We already have a mag release in place.
High bore axis,
High
stock
bore
adapter,
axis stock adapter,
trigger.
which we will have for the IWI Galil Ace as well.
Ooh, the high
Yeah.
bore axis stock
That's right.
adapter.
Yeah.
Yep. That should be in the next couple of weeks here.
So James Gill shot yours, right, at Kalash Bash?
That was my personal gun.
Yeah. And I didn't notice it at the time, but Jeremy Gresham from IWI sent me a picture of James, or I guess your rifle and mine next to each other, and that stock adapter, the prototype on there. I didn't notice it at the time, but it is much higher.
Yep.
It is much higher. I like that.
So
Yep.
you get a mechanical advantage over
Yeah.
recoil to a point by raising the axis of where you mount the
in
gun.
line with the bolt, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's
so
the
so
idea.
the
Just like
general
an AR-15.
right,
You're
general
lowering the
rule of thumb-
reciprocating mass.
So
Yeah.
you're taking all the flaws of the AK and making them more AR-like. I like that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's many people want to modernize it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's just getting a mechanical advantage
I'm
over
just
everything.
twisting
Yeah.
that knife. There's someone listening to this that's really into AKs.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, F that Hartman guy.
Yeah, yeah. Niet rifle's fine.
Yeah, it's No, that's really cool. I like that that adapter. That's sweet. So you guys have all kinds of cool stuff coming out for the
So be on the lookout for models of the KR9, and we will have a nice name for them when it's ready to come out. So we will have the
shebang?
Elite, we will have the Premium, we'll have the Standard, and we'll have the factory version. So
your guys' guns look good. And Lan and I have talked about this. Have you guys noticed that like orange and black is now like a thing. Like international arms shows, there's a lot of people with orange and black shotguns, rifles, etc.
Haven't noticed that all day. Nope, not one
Some
bit.
would say it's a coincidence, but we all know there's no such thing.
No such thing. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
The fact of the matter is that from the very beginning we've been careful to avoid, and we don't want to, copying anyone. That we feel like that we have good ideas to offer, and everything is function first. Until the function's been handled, then you better get the form right if you want to be successful. We like the bright colors. What we do will not get you killed in the streets.
Well,
okay?
and
I'm not wearing camo. I'm not.
We're racing, right?
Yeah.
And we've been talking cars since we got here, racing, and that's one of the things that I like about Porsches is for people that don't know, I've got a Porsche on the background of my main computer I use for the 3-gun show because it's kind of like a goal, right? And it's also in like the Gulf livery, which is something I really like, and it's colors for the 3-gun show. But what I like about them is like they're super engineered for speed, and then they throw like these outrageous paint jobs on them and make them super comfortable, and so they live in both worlds.
Yeah.
And you guys do that too, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've made really fast stuff that look like shit.
Well, it's funny because when we first started messing around with the candy paint and stuff,
Yeah.
first thing you said to me was
Lamborghini.
like Lamborghini Orange. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm glad you thought of a fast car,
Yeah.
something that was expensive
Yep.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you would have said that reminds me of a Pinto, I may have been upset.
Yeah.
That looks just like the Nissan Versa.
Right. It's like,
And
well.
the fact of the matter is,
Dave's dead to me.
early on, we literally we're like, all right, well, such and such team's got these colors, and look at that team's got these colors. We're
Blue
like,
or red?
Everybody's using
blue
red.
or red.
Yeah.
And then for the early on, and you can go back to you can go back and check my feed.
Dude, I know. Like
White rifle in 2013. Okay.
Yep.
A red shotgun in 2012. Crimson, all red, and then orange was let's just say it was the most underrepresented color at the time in our community.
What are y'all, hunters?
Yeah. And so we put it on there early and got ridiculed for it. Absolute ridicule. People saying like, "Oh, what do you think? It's a toy, Nerf gun, all that other stupid shit."
Dude,
and I'm like,
I've heard it.
And I'm like, okay, well, we go to a game to play a game. We dress up in clothes and put fancy shoes on, and so why am I not going to make my stuff match? And you go back to any of my old stuff. I've always been like that with anything in my.
Oh yeah.
Anything
why
I
not?
own. Yeah.
You guys want to hear something funny? You guys know Radian, the company that makes the Raptor charging handle, like the best charging handle out there. So they now have a competition model. Have you seen this?
No.
They have the Radian. I think they call them Talons or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
But on the Raptor charging handle, the little nub that you grab with your hand, instead of being black anodized, there's a red anodized one and there's a blue anodized one, and then it says competition or whatever, and it has 3 like not horizontal but like diagonal lines on there, kind of like the Corvette Grand Sport or like the NASCAR logo. And they posted a picture of it the other day on Instagram, and someone asked like, well, what makes it what is different about this from your normal Raptor charging handle? And they said nothing, just the color.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
I laughed so freaking hard at like just the honesty of like, hey, look, these 3-gunners over here, they like shiny shit. Let's
right.
make something shiny for
when you go to our website, it'll say, you'll click box fed firearms, and it'll say tactical models and competition models. And so we get the call. Can you tell me what the difference between your CR-12 premium tactical shotgun is and your CR-12 competition shotgun? CR-12 premium competition shotgun. Tell me what the differences are. What color do you want? Well, I don't know, but what difference is it? Nothing.
Do you want an all black gun? Yeah. Well, then that's the tactical model.
No. difference.
Do you want a red or blue
then-
gun? That's the competition.
But to be completely
Red or
honest,
blue will get you killed in the streets.
Exactly.
we do a different safety. Is the only. I
Yes.
mean, so they
Right.
they have a different. They may choose a different muzzle device, so they don't want a compensator, so they're going to get a flash hider, okay, or a door breacher or something like that, right? They're going to get a safety instead of a safety being operated where it comes off just by thinking I want the safety off. It's going to be a safety that you have to reach up, consciously finger sweep the safety to
Right.
get it off, and
You
you have
guys
to
saw a lot of
swing your
those?
big back on. Tactical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a lot is the wrong
Well-
thing. So more and more. So yesterday we sold one.
Ah,
And
That's a lot.
2 days before that, we sold one.
that seems like a lot.
I was gonna say it's relative,
That's
right?
multiple this week.
That's
Yeah.
relative, right?
So what happens is we asked
so
the guy.
it's probably really small compared to like your competition, but
Right,
you
but what
you are
most people are
selling more
saying,
of
they're
them.
saying, well, what it is they'll say, well, I may get into it. Well, great, because it's good for both.
Yeah.
It's not just because it was good to defend your life with doesn't mean you can't go and shoot a 3-gun match with it.
Right.
It doesn't mean you can't go and shoot a sporting clay match with it. Doesn't mean you can't go and kill a bear with it. The point is
You're going to get yelled at that sporting clay match.
No,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
yeah. It
They're
depends.
not going
yeah.
to like you at all.
But
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. Whenever they say you can't use that because it doesn't have chokes, and you say, well, I have internal
Well,
chokes.
you know what?
Yeah.
If we
And
show up
whenever
with a
they-
2-round mag and chokes, what can they say?
I have no idea, but they will.
So, oh yeah, we know. We know.
I've been there, man.
We know.
Yeah.
I've got kicked out of how many ranges, Lan, trying to shoot my shotgun.
Yeah. Well,
Trying to
we
go-
just got invited to a sporting clay event,
Yeah.
and we were told to bring our Vepers.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
kidding.
It just happened to be sponsored and run by Briley, but
Oh.
still.
So,
Never mind.
yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we've been going for a long time here. But if we don't talk about Kalash Bash, this will be a wasted trip. We got to talk about Kalash Bash.
Yeah, let's talk about it. What'd you think?
Dude, I liked it.
Yeah?
It was a super unique experience. So give like just a real brief summary of Kalash Bash.
Kalash Bash was an event for an AK-centric event in which we had an 8-stage match attached to a general admission carnival type event. So the intention was to get everybody who liked an AK together, but not everybody shot a match or not everybody wanted to go just to the carnival, so we kind
Right.
of put them all together. So what the shooters had the option of obviously is signing up for the competition. It was $150. They came out and shot the 8 stages, or they can just go to the event, which was $75, and they can view basically all the stages. Then they can go to the vendor row. So what was different about our event is that we had a vendor row area, and it was kind of
Over a dozen vendors on site.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
a
There was
lot.
there was a bunch of vendors on site, and the beauty of it was we were able to get all the vendors' products into the hands of the people.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and that was a lot of the feedback that we got was from every vendor was really happy with the way that the event turned out.
and
Yeah.
This was end of April? Is that
It was
right?
the end of April.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to do this again?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Lan,
I would recommend going
Okay.
if you have an AK or want to have an AK. It was a lot of fun. It was also like a complete departure from anything I've ever been to. I likened it, because I always do, to a car show, and it was like dudes walking around with their AKs on a sling, going, "Oh, you got one of those? I got one of those. You want to be friends?" You know, that kind of thing. And then also a match over here, and then over here you get a test drive the cars. You know, and that was like really interesting sort of format. And I thought it was a match I was going to. But
Right, we listened to the podcast, right?
yeah, but it was like an AK festival with a match attached to it, which was super unique.
And the other people that were on the attendee general admission side, they thought that was all they were going for.
Yeah.
A lot of them, or they kind of maybe knew there was a competition, but if they would have known that was the competition only, they would have never come.
Yeah.
Never, ever in a million years would have come. Okay.
Well, and
then so
like Red October, we've all been to Red October. There's a lot of people that go to that
Yeah.
don't even shoot.
Right. And then there was a lot of people there that were walking around that were just walked onto the range that weren't part of the general admission either. So
Really?
Yeah, because you weren't able to.
think so.
You weren't able to act. There wasn't a general admission side of it. You didn't register as general admission there at all.
No, you just
Oh.
kind of showed up, I
Yeah,
think, right?
correct.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I think they did have a lot of spectators.
Are
and
we
stuff
talking about
like
Red
that.
October?
Red
We are.
October.
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking
So
about
yeah,
you
Red
guys.
October. So at Red October, the general
Sorry.
the general
But
person
yes,
the general
you're
person
correct.
off the street had no ability to win any of the vendor prizes because they had no card to actually win if the prizes were given away.
Are we talking about Red October?
Yeah.
You're talking about Red October.
Yes.
I think you're thinking of a different match.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go back and listen to the match recon of
Yeah.
Red October. That's not how it worked this year.
Mike wasn't actually at the main match of Red October.
Yeah.
You were at Surefire.
He shot
Correct.
Surefire.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I didn't
so
shoot
he didn't
with
actually
staff.
get to see how it worked.
Yeah, no one knows how the prizes were given
Well, yeah,
away.
correct. I do know it was a very odd situation, but the
So without having to talk about the other events, so
Let's
much,
talk about Kalash Bash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kalash Bash was a lot. Well, it was our vision on how we would want an event thrown, essentially. And it's like, okay, so if you're a beginner shooter, then you're going to go here and you're going to check out the general admission side, and you're going to maybe see some of the stages, and you're going to shoot some fun stuff, but it's not really super competitive, and it doesn't require you to be really invested in the competitive shooting
Sure.
side, right? But it gives you a little bit of taste of it. We listened to like some of the Reddit and some of the other feedback from it, and a lot of people said that we had a little bit more competitive stages than they would like. What did you think?
I thought the opposite. Like,
Okay.
I thought that most of them were like super basic. Like there's really the only one way you can do it, right? And it was like a pistol match, where it's like modest round count. These are the targets. There's nothing really tricky about it. There wasn't any super hard positions or anything like that.
Right.
All the far targets were like way under 100 yards and super achievable, large size. The box-to-box stage, we shot just after it rained. And it was slippery as hell, which sucked because Lance Dingler found a way to eliminate one box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we were all like, oh, man,
Super
we
game.
got this. And then we all slipped all over and fell on our asses. But so that part was really cool. And I thought that while I dislike that type of stage because I'm not good at like remembering things,
Yeah.
I hate memory stages
It was
because I'm
definitely
bad at
memory
memory stages. I thought that was good to have in that match, so like new people can see like, oh, this is a component of practical shooting. I thought that was cool. I thought it was very new shooter friendly, and then for experienced shooters like myself or top shooters like John McClain and Nils, they just went really fast.
Yep.
So.
And it's part of the formula we've done for a lot of our matches is that there's going to be relatively straightforward shooting. I'm not going to try to trick you or have anything
Yeah,
stupid.
there's no tricky stuff.
The stuff that I really don't like in matches, you're not going to see it in one of the matches that we build. There's got to be skills that you can use that you've developed as a shooter. If you have those skills, then you should be able to put the gas down and maximize those skills. And then, but we're going to force new shooters or lower skill shooters to use those skills even though they're not using them, but they're still achievable even if you have to use the supported position that we gave you instead of shooting it offhand or you're going to be a lot slower at shooting. There's offhand steel in every single stage besides one. And so that right there was the big separator between it was was shooting that steel, you know what I mean? But if you're worth your salt and you're an AK shooter, you better be able to hit a target at 40 yards.
I know.
Okay?
Dude,
you know what I mean?
So I read a lot of the Reddit things someone brought to my attention, and those guys did not like competition shooters at all.
Yeah.
It was actually like eye-opening how much they
it was
disliked us.
It was their perspective of what a competition shooter was. Like if you talk to them, and we did, because it's two totally separate communities: the competition shooters and those guys.
And you guys, totally. But and you guys are staff, so you're like neutral ground. So they're going to talk to you openly, right?
Well, of course, yeah. And
Well,
so
yeah,
they were like,
until you tell somebody that they had to take their magazine out of the gun, even though they have a chamber flag in.
Yeah.
And then he basically wants to tell you that this is my rifle and I can do what I want. You know what I mean? And you're like, motherfucker,
Get off
this is
my
a fucking
range.
practical shooting range. And if you have a fucking problem with it, you can go fuck yourself.
We're gonna have to put explicit on this
Yeah.
one.
I was gonna say we were being so good until now.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Lan
So
and
I had to
were
tell
good.
somebody that to get his magazine out of his rifle, and he wanted to backtalk me.
I
Well,
know.
there was
Yeah.
that guy that was walking around with a hot
1911.
1911
Yep.
that I pointed out to you.
And I went ahead and took care of the situation quickly.
Yeah, and he got butthurt about that, and
sure did.
I think he was complaining on some sort of medium somewhere.
So
That's fine.
about that.
That's
But
fine.
it-
I told him
when
exactly what I thought.
When
Bro,
you're on
these
private
rules.
property,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
guess
Listen,
what?
if you come to my house, I don't give a shit if you have an LTC. If I
Yeah.
tell you to take your gun off, you're going to
Yeah.
take your gun off,
Mhm.
or you're
Right.
going to leave.
Yeah.
That's plain and simple.
Yeah.
Well, you came to my house because I was running that range that day.
Yeah.
I asked you to disarm. You did not. Or if you did, then we were good.
Yeah.
That was plain and simple.
When you shoot your own foot off and you try to sue my insurance company,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
there are like completely different worlds, and
Well, what did
I
you
want to
think?
see how we can bridge them, because I think there was a lot of cool stuff that was done at
So-
that match that I would like to see done at 3-gun matches, and vice versa.
That's the
As a
reason-
competitive shooter, when you saw them walking around with the rifles slung and kind of showing it to each other and just kind
No
of, they
magazine
will
chamber
muzzle.
flag.
They'll muzzle each other,
Yeah.
flag each other
no
because there's a
magazine
chamber
with the
flag.
chamber flag.
Crowd.
Right. But how did you feel as a competitive shooter? It was like, holy shit, what are these guys doing?
Yeah, that's exactly
At
how I
first.
felt, and
Yeah.
then
So,
I-
but if a gun's in a bag that doesn't have a chamber flag, you don't know if there's a magazine in it, and
Yeah.
the bag points at you, then you don't have a problem, though.
no.
Right.
But that's the thing, is though, it's because nobody can booger hook the trigger, right?
Right. Well,
But-
and I assume that anyone that is walking around a festival with a rifle doesn't know what the F they're doing. Because who does that? Like that,
Yes.
and again, that's just my frame of reference. Like I was looking at it from a 3-gun competitor perspective, and I've never seen anyone walk around a 3-gun match that was not getting ready to shoot with their rifle on. I've never seen anyone resetting targets with their rifle on. When we go have
Yeah, I know.
Texas 3-gun championship, when Nikki made us all barbecue and we were sitting down
Yep.
eating and we were having little cookies and everything. How many guns did you have on the table showing me? 0.
Exactly.
No, I
You know,
got it.
So,
How do we bridge that? I mean, so you asked the question earlier, right? And so how do you bridge the gap? How do you bring the two communities together but make them both feel comfortable
Our
around
other-
each
Yeah.
other? Because the AK guys aren't going to feel comfortable with competition shooters, and competition shooters aren't going to feel comfortable with AK guys swinging shit around.
well, and I tell you one thing that that representing the competition shooter community that we didn't do very well, and I struggle with a lot, and maybe you guys can help me out with this, is we all shot on the same squad, because we're all like, dude, we're totally fish out of water, but we're going to do this together and we're going to have fun. So, like, I wanted to shoot with all the Hayes boys and Jay and James, and they all wanted to shoot with me, and then Amanda was over there, and so we were all on the same squad. We were having a good time. And then I realized, like, we probably appear that we're closed off and confrontational and we don't want to associate with other people, where we just wanted to have fun with our friends.
right. Well, we've got some ideas on how to change that next year.
So
Mhm.
you
At
saw
the next
the
event.
2 other guys we partnered with in this event are on that side of the spectrum.
Right.
So what we realized, what was evident, when we
You
shot.
make them sound autistic. They're just.
I
they
was
like
going to make the
AKs.
joke, but I was going to let it go.
so,
I'm sorry, I couldn't let it go.
So your partners are on the spectrum.
yeah. So if they're if the AK community bridges all the way from the total into the world gas mask,
Right.
uh,
Well, and so to be fair, like the AR-15 community is the exact same
yeah,
way.
absolutely.
Like, the reason that I shoot 3-gun is because I wanted to get experience with my self-defense weapons
Yeah.
in case the shit hit the fan.
Right.
No lie. That is why I started doing it.
So last year I spent a year going to matches. Some 3-gun matches performing better than others. Very few of them actually selling out. You go to Red October. No matter what your opinion is on anything related to that, the fact of the matter is they had 300 people on the range.
Yep.
Okay. So let's just leave
And,
that.
and
so,
like a big waiting list, right?
yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking, I don't know any of these people. None.
Yeah.
The only people I knew were the people I shot staff with, and those were a couple of people that I convinced to cross over and shoot on that side. And then I'm thinking, well, all these guys are potential customers, so there's a business side of me.
Sure.
And then and there's guys along the spectrum there that are going to be, I'll never buy anything from Dissident Arms because
they make race guns.
Right. And then there's going to be guys that are like, they just have to be introduced to ours, and they'll be good for $10,000 worth of firearms, And so so we'd been running 3-gun matches for 4 years or so, and had been fairly successful with it, and helped run some regional 3-gun matches and so forth. But it was any of those offerings where you're basically going to the section of the shooting community that's already saturated with opportunities to shoot 3-gun. Okay, and so there wasn't a lot of opportunities. Almost one large opportunity to shoot an AK rifle at an event, and so we'd heard about some other people that had tried to do it and they'd failed miserably as far as attendance was concerned, and actually turning it into some type of match that people were like waiting to hear about the announcement for next year. Mm-hmm. And so so what we wanted to do was do something different than what we had seen ourselves, and really realize both sides of it. We almost turned around at the gate at our first 3-gun match because we had so much anxiety about it,
dude.
Yeah, and we were like, holy shit, you know what I mean? So I understand.
A car pulled in behind us, we couldn't leave.
Yeah, so we were forced to go in.
I brought two friends I brought two friends that couldn't get into the range unless I was there, and that's why I stayed.
Yeah. And so I have to put that on it. So now there's not 3-Gun Nation on TV introducing people to the sport. So there's only social media essentially as far as that side of the media, the big swath of the media, to where that people are able to see that, gain a hint of interest, and then start looking into it further.
Right.
And then so this side, the AK community, we're like, well, we make an AK shotgun. We did make some rifles for Red October, and we're wanting to get more into the rifle market. And so we're like, this is a good opportunity for us to use all of our equipment that's going to be sitting idle for 2019 since we had suspended our 3-gun matches. And then we partnered up with two other local guys that are successful into the AK crowd, so to speak, not the competitive shooting side. One of them has a company selling AK products. It's pretty darn successful doing it, a local guy. And then another one is a guy that does a lot of product reviews, and it's just like kind of an Instagram personality that's really successful, promoting himself and the people he works with and bringing product awareness and so forth, named Clayco47. And so both of these guys are like, none of our followers followed them. None of their followers followed us. Mm-hmm. You could see there's almost very little overlap between the two. And so we're like, here's a whole nother swath of market for us to grow in. So we said, hey, we got, a ton of steel, or actually 10 tons of steel. and you guys are really good at carnival barking and basically saying, you got to come to this event, blah, blah, blah. And that's the stuff that I'm not good at, you're just not going to see me out there doing that. I'm going to tell you my opinion about something after I've done it, and you guys can't miss this, and you should be a part of this event and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not really good, not going to be that guy pumping it. And they really were. They did really good at bringing awareness to that whole side of the community. We got out, a couple hundred attendees, general admission attendees.
Yeah, that was crazy.
People driving from across the country to come to this inaugural event.
People freaking sleeping in their cars, camping partying
out.
Until like 3 in the morning.
Most people I've ever seen camp out at a practical shooting event. And so, when we decided to rent a tent, so we had somewhere to have the awards at and have a good prize table, and we hit the sponsors not too hard, but hard enough to where we could throw a good event. We weren't cash strapped, and then also we got enough generous sponsorship from the sponsors to put out like a $65,000 plus prize table. That prize table was split between order of finish and a random draw, lots of different styles of random draw. And, when you're making sausage, you don't want to watch it, you know. But we argued about how we're gonna distribute these prizes, you know. I'm a staunch order to finish guy. People have spent tens of thousands around dollars to become a better shooter. They should be rewarded.
Yep.
You don't know how many times that they didn't do something they wanted to do, or how much money they took from one budget and put it on another. How much they sacrificed to be somewhere to become that shooter that you just see them as.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the best example is John McClane took like a ton of heat on that Reddit thread about it. And I was thinking like, John fucking Clan, like the who's such a sweetheart, like such a nice guy, and 3 years ago, was like the biggest underdog in 3-gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and he just works his butt off.
As a single dad. You know, as a paramedic in Las Vegas, who wants to deal with that, his in and out of daily stuff. You know what I mean? I'm sure he loved it because he was, you know, drawn to that or whatever. But, you know, homeless guys fighting you and puking on you while you're trying to save their lives is not something that, you know.
I can't stand being in Las Vegas, period. Like, I can't imagine interacting with, like, street people from Las Vegas.
So the fact of the matter is John spent a ton of his own money for I don't know how long, because I don't know John super long, but I know for a long time he spent probably a good portion of his disposable income on shooting, and gained sponsorship and industry partners to become a sponsored shooter, which was able to leave his job and become a, you know, I don't know exactly what he does, but he works in the industry now, you know.
Nobody knows what he does.
Right, exactly. And so the fact of the matter is that...
Kidding, John, we love you, buddy.
The perception of professional shooter is just a farce. It's laughable. And,
and it's I'll tell you what, man, when someone says, you know, if I had what he has, I would be as good as him.
Yeah.
I think, F you. Like, there's no way in hell that you will be as good as John McClane with everything that John McClane has, because you just right there demonstrated that you're not willing to put in any of the work that it's going to take to get there.
The rifle that you're going to complain about that he took off the table, he was sent there by another sponsor that put product on the table. So that sponsor wanted him to be there. That sponsor that you'd be wanted to take their product if they gave it to you.
Yeah.
So all the guys at the top are there either on their own dime or they're there because the sponsor wants them there. Okay.
Well, and the other thing about that thread is, like, people were just complaining about the fact that we did better than them.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was complaints about prize tables, but they were angry that we were there and beat up on them.
Anytime we have any kind of conversations about this,
it always because like people were mad at me.
But
I'm Dave.
The problem is everybody wants to. Everybody in the shooting community wants to say that they're, well, I hate to say it, but I'm an alpha male or this, that, and the other. But everybody's an entitled little bitch sometimes.
Situational awareness isn't going to get time.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, actually.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and it comes from both sides of it. So we had two other guys that we were partners with, and then we were able to find a good balance and agreement, because we were all agreeable guys, between the general admission side and the competition side. They think the competition was too hard. We think it was too easy. Okay. Okay.
I did not mean to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was rude.
They'll feel like that
was really
all of the prizes should have been given away random draw, or should have been given to them individually. Not that there's enough prizes for that, but that's the mentality of it. As where I'm feeling like it, you know, and I know better, but my first inkling is it should be all order to finish. Fuck anybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so the balance between that was like, no.
I thought it was weird, like general admission could win prizes. I thought that was odd. Not a bad thing.
The general admission,
something I'd never seen before.
Right. So the
like,
general.
Can you imagine, like, you bring your girlfriend to a 3-gun match and she walks away with a rifle?
It's like a door prize, essentially, is what we're trying to think about. You know.
they're paying half what the match fee was, and then so we've pre-sectioned half of the prizes to be given to only match fee people. Okay, those match fee people have the opportunity to win from the entire prize table, meaning random draw and order of finish. So it's not that you get a double dip, but you could win an order of finish and win a random rifle. And that would really piss some people off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Right?
Can you
I thought it
imagine?
was going to happen. I
That
thought
would've
for
been
sure that Nils was going to get called or somebody like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, beforehand, I'm going to shoot because I'm a competitor. And I'm going to shoot order of finish. But because I'm a host and a sponsor of the match, I predetermined that anything I win, and we did a video on it, that I was going to give donated or whatever you want to call it, re-put it back out for the high junior because we didn't have a high junior prize.
Oh, cool.
But the point is that I'm not going to be shut out of my own match just because you help put some steel on the ground or whatever. You know what I mean? But I'm also not going to go and walk the prize table and go and put that on Gunbroker. You know what I mean?
Right.
You would have been ridiculed.
Big time.
More than
loudly.
ridiculed.
Yeah.
Big time.
That means you don't have a conscience.
Well, since you guys successfully put on this match, how can we get the vendor presence and the shooter participation in the vendor booths that was present at this match at a 3-gun match?
Well, we've talked about a couple of different ways.
Mike's excited. Look at him.
Yeah, he thinks he has the answer, so let's go ahead and let
No,
him
it's
talk.
not necessarily the answer.
wanna
but
give it up
hey, first
right
and foremost, if you're a match director and you don't do half-day format, I will not attend your match anymore. Okay?
All right.
If
That
you're
was
stuck on full day, all day, every day, then you're doing a disservice to your shooters and to your sponsors. The shooters are too wore out,
Yeah.
and too I don't give a fuck to patron your vendors. Okay? The vendors get no play.
Well,
Okay? Get no play.
what did you think of the format at Kalash Bash? Were you able to go check out the vendors? What were you? I mean,
So the first day we had that what looked like it was going to be a tornado.
yep.
So I got close. But
And then the tents blew away.
yeah.
But you had the time to, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right.
I had plenty of time to. Plus, I was over there hanging out with Jeremy from IWI and stuff like that. So I didn't go up and down the row and shoot the stuff because I'll be honest, I didn't know I could.
Yeah. So
Okay.
And maybe that's a problem with I don't follow your partners on social media, so I didn't know about that. Or I seem to have a problem with practice score. Maybe I don't get a lot of match emails or something, but I didn't understand that I was okay to go shoot that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second day, once I realized that I could, I guess maybe I'm not really into the people are into AKs the way car people are, or how about this? Star Wars people are into this Star Wars figurine, has the painting weird on the Wookiee's face, so it's worth more.
Yes.
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 That kind of thing. I don't really get in.
Lance's super rare AK that he shot. Everybody thought it was a cool AK.
Yeah.
And he was just I don't know. This is just the only one I have.
Yeah, Lance
Yeah.
is dropping it in the ground and
Yeah.
stepping on it and stuff. Yeah, that exactly like that. For me, they're tools and so I asked one young guy there, oh hey, did you have a good time? You're yeah. What were you shooting? And then he told me something I understand all those words individually, dude, but I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. And then he started telling me about the pouches he had and things like that. And I understand that that's part of it. There's a significant LARPing part of it. That you have to have your pouches match your rifle and things. And I'm just it just did not compute upstairs. And so then once I did that, I went and shot some of the KNS stuff. I talked to the Dead Air guys and shot some of their stuff. But all the unique things that people were super excited about, I wasn't really excited about.
Right.
And that just shows you the disconnect that we have as competition shooters, right? Is that so we're so focused on our one set of select gear. And you may have a backup rifle or pistol or shotgun,
I'm
right?
super narrow, narrowly focused,
right?
For sure.
But so what happens is that whenever and it's just the fact of the matter is I've been shooting enough. I like the gear I like.
Mm-hmm.
I can afford what I want, and rarely am I switching gear in the middle of the year, right?
Right.
So whenever I see vendors at a 3-gun match, it's just the way I am. I've already know what they have to offer, or I don't want to say I don't care, but the thing is I don't have that interest enough to pry me away from whatever else I'm doing, right?
There's very little that's been innovative in in few years.
So that's a good point. So I would say that the exception for me, if I can be a contrarian, was Ruger last year at Texas 3-gun, because I don't care who you are. 22 is just fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love shooting 22 pistols. I love shooting 22 rifles. They had all the ding, 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 ding.
Hence the carnival side.
Yeah.
And to me, that Ruger area was a carnival, and so I got to go shoot their little pistol and their little rifle on the Red Stitch lollies and whatever. But then, while I was waiting for Garrison to shoot, I also checked out the new offerings.
Yeah.
Oh,
They got me. You know.
So one of the big metrics that we're proud of at Kalash Bash is that nearly 50% of the competitor field was first match ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it may even be
cool
higher.
too.
I just didn't want to overstate it.
Yeah.
But
at least 50%.
Okay. So the new shooter first match ever is a sponge. They don't have the gear. Everything's fucking new.
Yeah.
You know, running around with your gun and shooting stuff that's not in a direct lane at a local range or a mag dump at your buddy's land is anything beyond that's new.
Yeah,
right? So,
for sure.
So the interaction with vendors is going to be much higher, okay, because of just the sheer number of newer shooters, meaning I have less gear,
right?
Meaning I haven't been oversold by the market yet, okay? So 3-gun matches, personally, in my opinion, do a very poor job at bringing new people in, right? They do a job of trying to resell to the same
major matches,
500 coast to coast, 500 hardcore 3-gun shooters, only 150 that are willing to really travel. I'm talking about get on a plane, fly, go to a dozen matches being on a plane. I fly to more matches than I drive to. There are not too many people like Lan and I out there that are going to do that and spend that money. And then after that, we're not going to interact with a lot of vendors because we already have all of our own shit. We don't need it. You know what I mean? Or we don't have the interest in it. So getting that new shooter into the match. So how do you get new shooters into the match?
Is it new shooters then that
new shooters pay your vendors? Period.
Who's going to buy the new gear?
You got to have new people to buy new gear.
Well, yeah, I guess if your goal is selling gear, then yes.
Then you gotta if you're gonna try to tell somebody that already has gear, you need this gear, then it better be better than what they already got.
That's a good point.
And then in my opinion, I'm already rocking the best gear that money can buy, that the industry has to offer. So it's gonna be hard as shit to push me off of my gear. Really hard.
The only way.
That's a good point, dude. I didn't look at it.
So you want to sell gear? You need new shooters. You need that guy bringing his buddy. Or you need like a group of guys that are too intimidated to go to a major match to get off from the local match, let alone just go to the local match, but to go from the local match to now actually pay for a match fee, drive to the regional match, or potentially get on a plane and go to that match.
So what do you think then about, sorry to interrupt you, what do you think then about creating like mini majors like Kalash Bash that are new people friendly?
Yeah, so
that we don't give a shit. I'll tell you what, we did the running gun last year, Big Ben Blast and Dash.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I heard how many people were at that? I heard there's
like
a lot.
87 or something.
But some other running gun gets 200 and something people.
Oh, for sure.
And then I heard like the setup is there's very little to the match.
No, yeah. I mean, ours was a 3-gun match that you had to run to each stage. But if you've ever been to a running gun, like they're super simple.
Yeah.
But we were pleased with the 87 people that we had out because we got dudes that ran a 5K that had never run a 5K and they were running it with guns. But it was like for our local dudes. Like we weren't looking for people to travel to it or whatever. Yeah. Some people did because they heard about it on the podcast and we appreciated having them. But it was for our local people. So what do you think about this? Friggin' Texas. There's a shitload of people owning guns around here. What do you think about like just a carbine match?
Yeah.
Like not an AK match, a carbine match. Bring your AR, bring your whatever that's not an AR.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we were discussing doing a carbine match and then actually bringing it and having it culminate in a black rifle match. And so it would be the AKs versus the ARs.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of different ideas about that we've had. They also,
So one gun is less intimidating.
it is.
Yeah.
You can get newer people in like that. And then if it's like an AR versus AK, I mean, geez, can you imagine Vendor Road and AR versus AK area?
So-
Holy cow.
Exactly our
to
idea.
me,
Yep.
to me, you're gonna get me to go to a new event by having badass stages and being a badass match. Okay.
Yep.
And I want to think about the cerebral nature of the gun of the match designer and the people putting it on the ground. That I'm doing everything for a reason, and I'm using advanced skills to accomplish advanced tasks. Right. That's not going to get most people to a match.
Right.
Okay. What's going to get most people to the match? New people. That's what we're talking about. New people shooting their first match ever, or first major ever. Excuse me.
Right.
Is the event itself. So
Yep.
you're missing the mark by saying I'm going to have a cooler stage than this other guy. We had general admissions was successful because we had vendors on site, but they had shooting opportunities that were not competition oriented.
Yep.
Okay? So they had shooting opportunities inside the event that are not competition oriented, meaning that your daughter or your wife or your buddy that does not shoot competition, owns no no belt, owns no nothing, can go and shoot his rifle he brought from home or potentially a vendor's rifle on a carnival style stage or a side shoot or a vendor
Like
demo.
like that Ruger thing we were talking about.
Correct. So you said you had so much fun at the Ruger demo, right? If they didn't have the demo there and it was just the stuff on the table, would you care as much?
No.
Right. So now,
I mean, Ruger stuff is cool.
and you're
but
all salty, all right? So imagine like imagine the guy that's like doesn't shoot anything, is intimidated to even ask. Now it's like, oh, well, I don't want to do it. They didn't invite me. Well, no one's going to roll a red fucking carpet out for you and,
Yeah.
and bring you up there, right? Well, what if there was a red carpet saying, this is for you, this is for the general admission, this is for the guy that's not here for competition.
Yeah.
So you want your event to expand. Well, maybe you shouldn't focus on having 300 shooters. You should focus on really catering for that 120 shooters, getting another 120 people off the street
Yeah.
to come and shoot something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so now they're exposed to practical shooting. I'm not going to be left out of that fucking match next year because I had to walk past all those stages to get to my carnival stage.
Right.
And I was rubbernecking the whole time looking at everybody having fun. And then all the competitors that are there for the match are rubbernecking the side shoots, which most side shoots are throwaways and people skip them.
Yes.
Okay? They're throwaways because some guy sent out from the company doesn't necessarily want to be there, not all the time.
Yeah, I tell you,
Well-
there's a lot of people that I see working booths at places that
Yawning
just
on their
don't
phone.
give up.
Well,
Yes.
okay, so basically from what I'm listening from, both of y'all, you're trying.
Look at Mediator Land.
Well,
over here.
you're trying to figure out a way to appeal to both sides, right?
Uh-huh.
And then we've all kind of agreed that the new shooter is where the vendors are going to find value and stuff like that.
Which is where sponsorship comes from.
Where sponsorship comes from and stuff like that, right? And
Yes.
then Dave was saying that one of his most pleasurable experiences of some kind of vendor like that was the Ruger one because they had 22s there, so
With
they
steel.
got you in the 22s
With
and
steel.
steel. Then they had you try out the new product, right?
Yep.
So the way I'm looking at it is the reason why that was a success and the reason why a lot of our vendor booths were successes at Kalash Bash is because the vendors had staffing there that was able to explain their product, have
Yep.
product knowledge, give that to the general public or the people that are coming in. And so to me, the vendors were focused toward a different target audience, the
Yes.
new shooter. Now, the vendors who
Yes.
are at, or sponsors who are at matches and stuff like that, 3-gun matches, they're there for the competitive shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not staffing for them. They're not sending people who are there to spend time, explain product knowledge and all that stuff because these guys have already seen it all, stuff like that.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So if we approached it
Yeah,
differently
I
and
am seeing
staffed
what
it
you're saying.
differently and said, okay, so at our match, we're going to have the vendors actually send out a staff. And so their staff is going to run demos in that bay that they sponsored, promote their product, stuff like that. Make sure it gets into the shooter's hands and the general public's hands.
Well, so
the
you
vendor
guys
wins.
are a manufacturer.
Right?
What pitch from a match would get you to put one of y'all in the booth, standing there, showing people your product?
Exactly that. If you're a sponsor of this match, then this specific sponsorship level will get you a sponsorship of a stage.
We have a hot firing line.
Yeah, you'll have a hot firing line on that
line
stage.
between two stages.
You
So
send
that
Yeah.
everybody in the match
Has to go past
It
us.
doesn't have to go to some part of the range that nobody's going to go to, that everybody just skips. They're going to have to walk past you to get to their next stage.
Well, even besides that, just say that particular vendor is in charge of that stage.
Right.
Stage 10 is the Dissident Arms stage. Everybody that goes there will be spoken to by either myself or Mike
Yep.
or Vadim.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea
or
for sure.
At least if you have.
Now you're putting it in their hands.
You know,
And then-
another
if you
thing
have
that
an
you guys
RO.
did that was really good was having the firing line for the demo bays right next to the big tent where everyone
Yeah.
hung out. And of course, it's Texas and it's hot, so people are under the tent having food and stuff like that. And then it wasn't firing all the time. It was like for
Yeah.
what was it, 30-minute
30 on,
periods?
30 off.
30 on, 30 off.
That was
Yeah.
taken from Knob Creek, I
Yeah.
hear. So
Yeah.
Knob Creek
Yeah.
has a way that they set up, and they have a 30-minute hot time, 30-minute downtime. That 30 minutes allows for interviews, people to talk and chat about gear.
Yeah, you can talk
wares.
about product. You can, actually learn about the thing you're about to shoot instead of just like, aim it that way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So-
right.
We were part of a much smaller event that was somewhat kind of like the prelude to what we did here, called Kalash Bash.
Kalash Bash,
Yeah,
yep.
Kalash Bash. And then so there were specific times when the general admission firing line was hot, so to speak, and you have safety officers watching that line, and you had vendors that had hot firing line access. But then you had specific times written on an itinerary to where you encouraged, first of all, the range was cold, but you encouraged everyone to go to a specific vendor's booth and watch a scheduled demo.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it's
really
not
cool.
an individual demo where you're like, hey, look at this gun, blah, blah, blah. It's like a big demo where you're like going over the big points on the firearm. And then we did our KL-12 and our defective rifle, and then we did spun a spinner and smashed a plate rack with the shotgun and with the reload on it, and everybody was like, jaws just dropped. You know what I
See,
mean?
that works for 80 people,
Yeah.
but once you have like 300 people at a big match,
But you
then
can
the
have
logistics
multiple
will be
ones
crazy.
scheduled, and where some
Yeah.
people will watch what they want. Just like, at SHOT Show, people are going to go to watch Jerry talk, and they're going to go skip somebody else talking. You
Yep.
know what I mean? It's just they're going to get in where they fit in. In my opinion, you got to have reasons why people want to be there other than the competition. Otherwise, all you're going to get is hardcore
Yeah.
competition, guys. It's just realizing that there's a bigger swath of the market.
You know what? So speaking of hardcore competition, guys, the over the years I've hung around with all different people at 3-gun matches. I've shot with all different people at 3-gun matches, and I've had all different people on the podcast. And the people that are like super serious about it, like we're not joking around. We're not going to have any fun. We're here to shoot. We're going to do our best. We're going to go home. We're going to eat boneless, skinless chicken breasts and a side of broccoli, and then we're going to bed. It's like, those people suck to hang out with. You know?
I know.
But the people that like aren't taking it seriously and are fucking around the whole time and things like that, those people aren't any fun to hang around with.
Yeah.
There's like a happy medium,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, you got to just scrape away those two sides and realize, like, you're not going to get the hardcore competition shooter to go to the Ruger booth.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So how do you get more of the middle, the backbone of 3-gun to be excited about the people you have out there at matches?
Yeah, so we, with the competition side, you actually have access to the to those carnival stages, to where they actually could have all been shot, where you brought your own rifle over and shoot those stages. So,
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
So education
What?
was such a new event, new concept, and then education on an individual level was something that may have been a little bit lacking, but for people completely understanding what was the opportunity. So the idea was, if the weather was a little bit better and things like that, but the idea was that you show up, you're an AM squad, 7:30 you're there, hammer down. You don't have time to do anything, right? Hammer down, you shoot 4 quality stages before lunch.
Yep.
then you're free. Imagine that. You get free. Oh, wow. And then you get to go and patron the vendors. The generous sponsors that gave you tens of thousands of dollars for you to make money for your own match are now going to get a little bit of play because you release the people that are chained to the stage to go and just look at the vendors. The vendors actually have something more than just product thrown on a table to look at. They get a hot firing line. So all the stuff that they're showing off, somebody gets to actually squeeze a trigger with it, right? Vendors are allowed to give ammo away or sell $10 magazines or do whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what?
Okay. So nobody's
having
got
things to purchase.
Yeah. Nobody's got to say you got to bring 10,000 rounds of ammunition and give it away. You know, bring a couple of thousand. You know, give people 5-round mags. But if people want to do a mag dumps, sell $10 mags. You know, or 15, whatever it has to be, depending on the ammunition or whatever. The point. So now there's a reason why to do stuff. Talk to, you know, the rain or the match director should have a provision for you to request a steel target or to request something to be shot at. You know what I mean? So that should be part of your sponsorship package.
That was a weird thing.
Okay.
There was just a lot of dirt shooting.
Yeah, it was a lot of full auto shooting with steel cores and stuff like that. So yeah,
Oh,
so
right.
so
I forgot it's an AK match.
So we're trying to say, depending on if this was a 3-gun match and you're trying to, you know, some rifle manufacturers, you know, need something to shoot, or a pistol manufacturer, you know, some type of feedback on the other end. And then you have the carnival stages, and you should, in my opinion, you should have some type of general admission provision for the match. Because we've had lots of people over the years say, hey, I just want to come out and watch.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have to make sure that they come and sign in. Otherwise, they're not going to have a wristband on.
Tell
They're
you
not
what
going to be
else.
on the insurance.
Tell you what else. Charging people
Yeah,
is a good way to get people there.
absolutely.
Like, it's only $25 to come and watch.
Correct.
Because if you say it's free to come and watch, people are going to forget about it.
No one
They're not
cares,
even
or the
gonna come.
wrong people come.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
it's no one cares. It's like what people pay for, they value.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
So
And so now there's shooting opportunities outside of the competition, meaning I don't have to be chained to a stage. I don't have to shoot all 8 of them to get a score. I get to just one time have fun. You know what I mean? I get to pull the lever on that machine one time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, why do people do slot machines in Vegas all the time? I don't fucking know.
It's gonna
You know
pay
what I mean?
off once.
Yeah. But people will literally go. So we gave general admission. I think it was 3 or 4 tickets.
3
included, and then they could buy more.
really?
Yeah. So they would go in, they'd walk up with their own AK, no magazine inserted, with the chamber flag, muzzling everybody. Okay? Okay? The idea is that everybody should be checked in properly. They know the rules properly. They get their wristband. They get the their shooter's tag with their number on it that allows them to win prizes. Then they get 3 tickets. They go to the next year. What we hope to have is, 7, 8 carnival stages, right?
Uh-huh.
Now you take your 3 tickets. You shoot
So
whichever ones you want.
they shot the actual stages that we shot in competition as a carnival stage?
No,
Not
we had specific side stages.
Oh,
for the
okay.
carnival.
specific side stages. Yes.
Huh.
So now they
That's a
go,
cool
they go,
idea.
and they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that looks cool."
What kind of participation did you guys have on that?
A lot. People went and bought multiple tickets, or like the
Wow.
Century Arms, generous sponsor, title sponsor, we had a PSL they were giving away, right? Which
yeah,
is-
pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
That's right.
Everybody
So
loves those.
in that crowd, that's like, winning Jerry's
like-
AR-15. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Okay, they want it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay?
I was led to believe by people's body language
Yeah.
that was a really special thing.
Yeah, and okay, so people went multiple times back and bought general admission tickets
Oh.
to go and reshoot that stage over and over again.
Just like a fair.
To increase their
Just like a fair.
opportunity
Okay.
of winning that
Yeah.
specific prize. So, in my opinion, you would have a very nice price for every carnival stage that would promote more activity on that particular stage.
Mhm.
Depending on how organized you were, you could have vendors actually sponsor that exact
That's
stage.
exactly what. That's
Correct.
exactly
Gil
the
was-
idea.
But you,
James Gill was just telling me about
you have-
an industry masters
Yes.
yeah,
that they used to have back in the day.
at least, yeah.
Well, it was before the Industry Choice Awards.
Okay.
It was the old one. That it was exactly what you're describing. Like they had the normal match, and then they had all these side stages, and like there was a Walther side stage where you come shoot a Walther, and like fastest time wins the pistol that you're shooting.
Right.
On and on and on down.
So the idea though is that on the stage though, are you going to allow the fastest time to win, or are you going to allow it to be random?
Yeah. Well, that's this specific one was fastest time, and
Right.
it was a story of James.
That's the balance.
James went and like slaughtered everyone.
Correct. Right.
Went home with like a.
So
He had like a
I got a plaque for the match, but I got 10 other firearms for the
Right.
stage.
Yeah, he had a stack of firearms, and he was there like with wounded veterans and like passed them out. Like,
That's awesome.
Like candy to the wounded veterans. So anyway,
Yeah.
that was the story.
So yeah,
I don't know if I was supposed to tell that.
All right, but that's the idea. The idea, and then so the competitors have the ability, if they want, to come and shoot the carnival stages on their off time.
Yeah.
And then we.
Yeah, I mean, if I could have won the Ruger pistol that I was shooting, that would have been even cooler.
Yeah.
I probably would have paid 5 or 6 more times to shoot it.
Right. So if
wonder
it
I
was
could
like.
have.
You may have been
Memory
able
is-
to.
memory
So the
is
metric on
hazy
this one
this
thing
one.
is you're like, anybody that hits that target with these 2 rounds, basically we take your ticket and put it in there. Some people miss twice, and they would use another ticket
Right.
to get a chance at winning it. You know what I mean? But most people hit it on their first shot because it wasn't a terribly difficult shot. So it wasn't about the difficulty of it, but it wasn't a throwaway either. But it was about interacting with a customer or with a sponsor product,
Mm-hmm.
and then actually having the desire to win that product, and then having a way to actually do it besides just dropping your stuff into a
Right.
hat. You know what I mean? No, you actually
That's
get to
pretty
shoot
slick.
something to have a chance to win. But then you have to buy a ticket to do it, because only a certain number of tickets were included with your general admission fee.
All right.
So now there's an avenue, a vehicle for the match sponsor or the match administrators to turn a profit. There's nothing wrong with turning a profit, as long as everybody's getting what they deserve.
Yep.
You know, and so now that there's actually something there that says, I'm going to do this next year. I'm going to not focus on Dissident Arms for 2 weeks because I'm going to help do this match, or I'm going to take vacation off of my whatever corporate job or something that somebody else is doing to run a match, because running matches sucks. So unless you're a full-time match runner, which that's a very difficult business, unless you're going to do that, then you're going to have to. This match has to be a worth making it into an event that you're going to have year on end, right? Otherwise, title sponsors don't want to come back, or sponsors in general don't want to come back.
Yep.
So when you see a match and every year has a new title sponsor, that's a sign.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they can't announce their title sponsor till the end, then that's a sign also.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Well, we've been going for over 2 hours here. I'm hungry. You guys want to go get some lunch?
Yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
eat.
All right. So I think we solved all of Three Guns' problems here. And I also learned a lot more about Russian guns than I've ever known in my entire life.
Still a lot to learn, Dave.
Yeah.
Is it really? This isn't
man.
it?
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Yeah.
So the PSL really doesn't stand for pumpkin spice latte then, does it?
No, but that shows how basic you are.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we have some like really good ideas for creative things in matches going
Everybody's
forward.
going to steal them now.
Oh, totally.
They've actually already been stolen, but it's okay.
Oh, dude, people steal my shit all the time.
Well, now we have a record of.
That was
Yeah,
my
discussing
idea.
it.
We can,
Yeah, well,
we can. When we're at lunch, we'll compare lists of stolen ideas.
Oh, wow.
Dudes, thanks for being on the show once more. Thanks for being like just awesome guys and good friends to hang out with at matches and talk crap with on Instagram, stuff like that. You guys are cool. I like what you're doing. I'm excited to see the growth of Dissident Arms, and pumped for like what the future holds for you guys.
likewise, Dave. We appreciate that. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow too, and it's kind of cool that it's been this somewhat side by side journey, growth and stuff. And so yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to look back and see like our history and where we met each other and where we're at now. It's pretty exciting, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks for coming by the shop. I'm super excited about the future.
Too, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so Kalash Bash 2020, put it on the
Yes.
calendar.
Yeah, we will try to get the calendar ironed out somewhat in the relative near future. But yeah, definitely look for other neat stuff from Dissident Arms, both product-wise, event-wise.
Yeah,
we are a shotgun company. So
I'm excited to hear that.
yeah,
So I was bummed when y'all quit doing your monthly match because I really enjoyed your monthly matches, especially since I was moving back to Texas. But it's cool to see what you were able to do with the Kalash Bash with that save time and focusing on less matches, more excitement, I guess, on a bigger scale. It's pretty exciting. So let's do more.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
you guys do more, and I'll come and shoot them.
Awesome,
That's what I
Dave.
mean.
sounds good.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.